Fortunately, I think this is a solution looking for a problem in some cases, and their solution is not going to affect many because at the end of the day, as everybody knows, people that are wanting to do harm to people and want to be criminals don't obey laws. That's why they're criminals. So you could put all these laws you want out there, but these folks aren't going to abide by it. But the people that want to defend themselves and be able to purchase a firearm and be able to carry a firearm for purchase and for protection, their rights are being trampled on when you keep doing these type of ordinances and other things.
Good morning, Mark. Gabe Pfeiffer here, and
hey, Gabe.
I'm wondering what the schedule for this is like. So, the councilwoman made her announcement. She wants to bring it before the council. So, when's the soonest we can expect that, so we can be there and make some noise?
Sure. Well, the first thing is when and if she has a bill that we have to talk about. We can talk about this in concept and other things, but until we get a bill that spells out her legal logic on this, as well as where she wants to go with this ordinance, that will be the first step. And once we know that, then we've got something to argue and we've got something to talk about moving forward. And I hope that if it comes together at all, she may get the pressure to back off on this from people that feel the way we do on this. And so I'm hoping that will discourage her or to find a different solution to her problem. So if that happens, it'll probably somehow in the next week, I'm sure we'll have some type of legislation if this moves forward.
Yeah, I mean, that leads really well into the question I also wanted to ask, Mark, is there a value in speaking up now, even though we don't have a specific proposal, in saying, no, nothing is acceptable if it's trying to carve into the Second Amendment and the right to self-defense? So it would be easy for somebody to say, what are you complaining about? You haven't even seen the bill yet. Read it first before you complain. Is there a value to say, no, we've already heard what her intent is. Let's get out in front of him and saying, no, you will not, and sort of put them on the defense.
Right. I think we know where this is going. Mm-hmm. This has happened before, and I think if the most time we have to talk about this and to get out in front of it is good. But we should hear, I would think, some type of details in the next week or so that we can talk about this in more detail as well.
How would you think the public should be prepared to argue about this? What are the leading things that we should kind of bring up about the problems with this sort of law?
Well, it goes back to, there's two questions here. I guess how they want to protest. Sure, come to our meetings Tuesday night, 6:30 in Clayton. Express your opinion to the issue. You can do that. You can send emails to the consul once there is a piece of legislation. Listen to the debate on stations like this going forward. There's those type of things. And then basically understand what they're asking and what the implications and the unintended consequences of far-reaching ordinances and things like this, because that's where really the rubber meets the road. Is what's the unintended consequences, and if we're going to agree as a society to give up these rights, what are we going to get in return? Are we going to get safety and security? Are we going to eliminate crime? Are we going to, have a society that is going to, abide by every law? Yes, I'd love that to happen, but I'm a realist, and those kind of things are out there and have always been out there, and we have to be vigilant as defenders of our freedom every day of the week.
You've got a majority Democratic county council, what's the actual risk we should have to worry about of them passing an anti-Second Amendment, unconstitutional gun control bill? Because I'll tell you right now, Mark, I'll say it on the air in front of God and everybody else. If the county council passes this, and I would assume Sam Page would sign it into law, I'm not obeying it.
And that's the thing. And the folks that this is aimed at a certain problem and a certain segment of our population, probably less than 1%, that are recalcitrant folks that want to terrorize the rest of us. Again, they're not a little law on a piece of paper somewhere is not going to keep them from doing that. And are these the folks that are doing TikTok videos and brandishing firearms on Washington Ave down the city, and terrorizing neighborhoods by walking around brandishing firearms, which currently is illegal anyway. And so what is this new law going to do that's going to change that? These people, if the police would enforce and the prosecutors would prosecute, we wouldn't have these blatant violations of the law that we're seeing in many neighborhoods and places in St. Louis when these things do surface. So, whether you're 16, 10 years old, 17 years old, whatever it is, and you're out there brandishing firearms and waving it in the air and basically, acting like a thug to other people and scaring them and showing, hey, I got a gun, you don't, kind of thing. That attitude and those actions, as we know, are already federal laws, and they're violating those. And anyone under 19 should not be using a gun anyway without parental supervision. That's on the books now. So let's enforce the hundreds and hundreds of gun laws that are already on the books. We don't need one more that's not going to do very much.
Yeah, because that's going to be one of the arguments and pushback against you for speaking out is the typical liberal talking point. Well, what's your solution then? We've got to try something, and then they want to try to put the onus back on the people who say we have a human right to defend ourselves. And so what I'm hearing you say is, yeah, how about actually prosecute criminals for committing crimes? Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's a lot of gun control laws that should be wiped off the books. But actually prosecuting criminals is where it starts. And frankly, criminals knowing that more people could be armed and able to defend themselves is a deterrent that the left doesn't want to admit.
Correct. And, this is, like I say, this is the problem that the left is trying to fix here is what they see and perceive as these, rambling groups of folks running through neighborhoods and basically terrorizing neighborhoods with their guns, whether they shoot them, whether they wave them, whether they, do these videos and put it out there that, you don't come in our neighborhood because we are this way, whatever. Again, those are all federal law violations. And then if you're under 19 and you're doing this, that's also another federal law. There's probably half a dozen things wrong they're doing already that if the police would enforce, and the prosecutors in the city of St. Louis, which we haven't had any for a long time, would prosecute, these things would be very few and far between, and we wouldn't have to overreact in this case. And we don't have this type of problem that they have in the city of St. Louis. Yes, we have gun issues and gun arrest, but we arrest and we prosecute in the county, and maybe not every time, but we have a better record than the city of St. Louis. So we don't need something like this as another layer of feel-good legislation that I feel is going to be totally ignored and it's not going to solve the problem they think that this will solve.
Okay, let me come back to something we mentioned a minute ago, because I've just got a minute or so left. Mark, we're visiting with Mark Harder, County Councilman. Again, Democratic majority on this county council right now. What's the actual concern we should have that something like this could actually pass?
Oh, I think it has a very high probability of passing because of that makeup and because of what you said before with, we got to do something. And I think if it's brought and if people aren't willing to push back on this, I will be. I'm going to convince as many of my colleagues to push back on this. But yes, I think it would have, under our current makeup and mindset, I would think it would be, it has a high probability of passing in whatever form she chooses to present to us.
All right, Mark, we've already tagged you on our social media. What's the website people can check out? Because obviously you're running for state senate as well. People can check that out. Yeah,
markformissouri.com is a site you can go to, email site to connect it to that. So, let your friends and family know that this is going to happen, and it could happen pretty quickly if, we get some legislation in our hands in the next week. So these are things that are happening, and then people, a month from now will wake up and say, how did that happen? And this is when you get involved.
The News Roundup comes your way in just about 2 minutes and 38 seconds right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Senator Hawley, I grew up in North County. The subdivision that I lived in, Coldwater Creek, ran through our neighborhood.
The federal government dumped radioactive waste into the water, into the air, and they knew about it. They've done it for 70 years, and they've lied about it. And people in our state and in that region in particular have gotten sick and died.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Attention! This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
800-797-0711. 800-797-0711. 800-797-0711. That's 800-797-0711.
This news update brought to you by Anton's Plumbing and HVAC. Call Anton's at 314-338-3941 or visit them at antonshvac.com.
Hi, it's Dan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, the FBI caught in another lie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one's a big one that everybody should be taking notice of. And I'll put this challenge out as well. Hey, liberals, you should be taking notice of this one. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Can do that in the 6 o'clock hour. Also, the legal wrangling over a pro-abortion referendum in Missouri continues. We've got the update from some of those who are working to keep Missouri a pro-life state. And I don't know, maybe inviting hundreds of teenagers to hang out late at night in downtown St. Louis was not a good idea.
You know, we tried to say that.
Okay. All right, 5:51. I'm Mike Ferguson. That's Del Pontegas. Here's what we mean by that, okay? Many residents, businesses, and some of the advocacy groups connected to downtown St. Louis frustrated with a city-sponsored youth party that happened over the weekend. And there was a town hall event with a couple alder critters that happened yesterday where people were kind of expressing their frustration. So the idea that the city had was to attract the kids to a safe area in the party instead of letting them, run wild on everybody else, which is what typically happens. And the complaints are that hundreds of kids stuck around after the downtown youth zone party, well after it ended, hanging around and roaming all over downtown St. Louis and West downtown for until 3 o'clock in the morning, Saturday into Sunday, which of course defeats the purpose of the whole idea.
I got to be totally honest with you. This is what we heard before this event even got on the schedule. Was folks in that area were saying, "What's going to happen after it's over?
Right?
Aren't kids going to hang around for who knows how many hours?"
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. It's almost become a cliche joke. You know what? We really need to solve the problem: more midnight basketball. No. I know. Let's have a big dance party downtown where all the druggies and all the bars are. That'll be a great idea. Well, it turns out it's not working really well. But
not so much.
Yeah. So some of the older people are saying, "Yeah, let's not do that anymore." No comment from the mayor's office so far. All right, national news here. The House Oversight Committee says newly obtained bank records. Remember, I mentioned this because it kind of became the breaking news that some bank records became available yesterday morning. So the House Oversight Committee says those newly obtained bank records appear to show Hunter Biden and his business associates received millions of dollars in payments, and these records are indicating Russia and Kazakhstan. That's a country that I hadn't heard in the mix yet. But they received that money when President Biden was serving as vice president. Congressman Byron Donalds was on Fox's America Reports, and he says he thinks President Biden was involved in the business deals.
The White House says Joe Biden never got a dime. I don't believe it. And at the end of the day, if Hunter Biden was spending money for his dad on behalf of his dad doesn't have to take a dime. That's facilitating a bribe from the president of the United States through his son.
And once again, the updated position of the White House is, didn't do it.
What a tangled web we weave.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Wow. That's going to be fascinating to see what happens there. Okay, in a lesser-known bill before the county council this week, St. Louis County officials made it illegal to smoke outdoors in county parks. Yeah, the smoking ban also covers indoor facilities, basically every business or public space, libraries, stuff like that, except for casinos. There's a carve-out for them that says they can allow smoking in up to half of their gaming floors.
I guess I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so way to stick with the convictions there, St. Louis County Council. Listen, either your big government decide that you can micromanage local businesses or you're not. You're like, okay, we're going to get tough and protect people from secondhand smoke, except these guys who really are a big business and people really like it. We really don't want to make people mad. So we'll give you a carve out and special rules for you. Oh, my goodness. Listen, if you made smoking indoors illegal, almost every place would not allow it in their businesses anyway. I just don't know that government's needed here. But banning it in
outdoor areas, county parks, really outdoors? Does that make any sense? No. I mean, listen, you're walking up and down with a cigarette. I'm probably not going to walk right up to you because I don't like the smell of it. But outdoors? Really? Okay.
It's as stupid as wearing a mask outdoors.
Yes, exactly. Jeez. Oh, well, all right. Okay, update on the whole illegal immigration in sanctuary city areas. New York City is currently trying to deal with 50,000 illegal immigrants. Mayor Eric Adams says the city is at a breaking point, and he is asking the federal government for assistance.
We're also asking the federal government to declare a state of emergency. This will allow federal funds to be allocated quickly to help address the urgent challenges we face. Additionally, the federal government needs to provide more funding to match the reality of the course on the ground.
I love that he's actually using the word reality. He says the city's on track to have to spend over $5 billion this fiscal year alone. Imagine that. By the way, the Cardinals evened up the series with the Rays, beat them 6-4 last night. Lars Nootbaar hit a home run.
When it's important to you, stay informed. It's on News Talk STL.
We all have so much more in common than what separates us.
With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey.
There hasn't been a Republican official in the country that has beat the Democrats more on issue after issue.
We can't take a chance in this election.
News, analysis, and opinion.
My general opinion of testimony in Congress is that most of it's just BS.
101.9 and 94.1.
I don't know what's happening.
News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
So we finally got the parts for the time machine. Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s. Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks. Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com. Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa. 90s new country streaming now.
How'd you like to eliminate your expensive cable bill forever or get new satellite internet where cable can't go? Well, now you can have affordable satellite internet service for a few dollars a day. All you need is a mini satellite installed, and you can have unlimited internet connections wirelessly in your home or office. And no cable boxes means unlimited connections and no clutter. You can surf the internet or stream any of your favorite television services with no cable. And the best part is, satellite internet service costs only a few dollars a day for your entire home. Yes, fast internet to surf or stream television for a few bucks a day. Call now for free details and learn how to drop your expensive cable bill.
800-696-2871. 800-696-2871. 800-696-2871. That's 800-696-2871.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
And property loss is staggering. Fires on the Big Island and Maui, with the latter especially hard hit. The death toll stands at least 36. Hawaii's Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke says it now definitely not the time to visit.
This is not a safe place to be. In certain parts of Maui, we have shelters that are overrun. We have resources that are being taxed. We are doing whatever we can, and the state is providing whatever support that we can to give support to both Maui and to the Big Island.
At least 271 structures, including some of historical interest, have been damaged or destroyed. President Biden will mark the first anniversary of a bipartisan law delivering the largest expansion of veterans benefits in decades by paying a visit today to a VA hospital in Salt Lake City. An anti-corruption crusader and presidential candidate in Ecuador has been assassinated. Fernando Villavicencio was shot at a campaign rally outside Quito. Ecuador's presidential election is now just 2 weeks away. We are awaiting the latest inflation snapshot due for release today.
Economists surveyed by the data firm FactSet believe that the consumer prices report that comes out this morning will likely show an increase of 3.3% from 12 months earlier. Consumer prices in June showed a year-over-year increase of 3%. A jump in energy prices likely was a major contributor to higher inflation in July. AAA says gasoline prices have gone up nearly 30 cents over the past month to a national average of $3.83 a gallon. Donna Water, Washington.
And on Wall Street, Dow futures up 162 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Inflation is pushing up the cost of just about everything, but life insurance actually costs less today than it did a few years ago. Now is the time to get the insurance you need. Call Select Quote and we'll help you save more than 50% on term life insurance. You can get up to $2 million in same-day coverage with no medical exam.
Call Select Quote at 1-800-646-9595 or go to SelectQuote.com now. That's 1-800-646-9595. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Russian officials say air defense systems have shot down 2 Moscow-bound drones for the second day in a row.
The attacks disrupted flights at 2 international airports as Ukraine appears to be stepping up its attack.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A dense fog advisory in effect until 9 a.m. The fog is thick in spots. Be careful out there, folks. Give yourself plenty of distance between you and the vehicles around you. The fog should lift quickly mid-morning, making way for partly cloudy and eventually mostly sunny skies. A high of 87 this afternoon. Mostly clear tonight, down to about 70. Partly cloudy and warmer Friday, a high of 93. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Now, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
I'm here with Dr. Howard Wall. Let's talk Social Security. Howard, I'd like to retire someday. Will Social Security actually be there?
Social Security is financed by payroll taxes and an accounting trick called the Social Security Trust Fund. For a few years now, the amount coming in has been too low to cover benefits, so the trust fund has been shrinking.
Well, then how much time is left?
In about 11 years, the trust fund will be empty, and benefits will be cut immediately and automatically by about 20%. You know, the topic has been declared off the table by both parties, but taking it off the table will not keep it from driving itself and the federal budget off a fiscal cliff.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president. We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Mike Ferguson.
I am a young, vibrant man.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I'm Batman. Get up! Get up!
We can't rebuild our economy and meet this climate crisis.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, here in just a couple minutes, guys, I've got an update on the case of the 7-Eleven employees who stopped that thief in a spectacular fashion.
Okay.
Will they be charged? That's the question.
I'm very curious about this.
Yeah, I'm going to answer that for you here in just a couple of minutes. By the way, the countdown is on to the first Republican presidential debate now. We're less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah, that kind of snuck up on us, didn't it?
It did,
Just
yeah.
like, oh, well.
Because when they first announced it, we're like, man, August 23rd, that's forever from now. Well, no, it's not forever from us now.
Mm-hmm.
Should Donald Trump show up? I want you to tell me what you think at 6:20. So I'm going to start watching the Rumble chat box, and you guys watch Facebook and Twitter, and, of course, 314-912-1019. I'm curious what people think.
Get your dialing fingers ready.
Yeah, that's right. I'm curious as to what people
say.
think, whether they think Donald Trump should show up and debate his opponents in this. So 6:20, we'll have that conversation. All right, it is 6:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here, as always. Okay, I mentioned this in the news roundup. I want to get your thoughts on this, Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
So the St. Louis County Council, they had a smoking ban bill on the agenda this week. Of course, it got overshadowed by other things. But they voted to kind of tighten up the indoor smoking ban.
Okay.
So
I didn't realize we still had a problem with that.
Well, I guess. So basically, any indoor space now, any place of employment, any place of public accommodation, so, malls and businesses and libraries and whatever else. So you can't smoke in St. Louis County in any of those anymore, mostly.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
But there's two elements of this that kind of made me go, really? They expanded the smoking ban to outdoor spaces owned by the county. So parks and recreation. So county parks, you're not allowed to smoke outdoors now.
Okay. Why, though?
I don't know.
I mean, look, I hate the smell of cigarette smoke.
Same.
My wife, she smoked at one point, but now she can't stand it either. It makes her sick. We avoid those types of places. But people who smoke ought to be able to do that where they want to do that. I mean, and of course, being outside, the whole danger of secondhand smoke is severely diminished by being outside.
You would basically have to be hanging over the cigarette outdoors to be, and do that. I mean, I there a couple of years ago, a buddy of mine said, "Hey, let's go grab something to eat and drink in this like Irish pub in Maplewood."
Mm-hmm.
And we're walking up to it. He goes, "Oh, by the way, they allow smoking here."
He's like, "Nah, you're supposed to tell me that first."
Right. I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, now my first thought is, I didn't know anybody could. I'm glad that we've got the freedom to choose or not. And I walked in. I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is why I would not go there."
Right. Yeah.
So I sat in there, and it took me weeks to get the smoke smell off my jacket. And by the way, when I was in elected office on a board of aldermen, I actually voted against a smoking ban.
Yeah, I don't like
just
those.
on principle, and I don't smoke. I can't stand the smell of it. I hate it all. But there's a big carve out for the casinos and the casinos only.
No kidding.
Yeah. They have to make up to half their gaming floor non-smoking, but they can allow up to half the gaming floor to allow smoking.
Okay.
So literally 3 words: follow the money.
Yes,
absolutely.
100%. That is absolutely correct.
Boy.
And that's what they said. Hey, this could hurt our business, and so they carved out an exception for them. Well, that bar that I went to in Maplewood, or the pub, I guess, because they served a lot of food there too. Food wasn't bad, and you go there, and if this ban will probably hurt their business. Although I get the feeling, the vibe there, that they may just like, screw it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, hey, good for you if you do that. So what it comes down to is let the businesses decide.
Yes, absolutely.
When I was on that board of aldermen, I remember getting an email from an angry person who did not live in the town that I lived in, but said he was never going to come and have lunch or shop in this community ever again, because he walked into this diner and he was disgusted because they allowed smoking.
Okay.
Well, the diner he was referring to did allow smoking.
Yeah.
And it was gross.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't eat there either.
Sure.
And going off on me that we're behind the times because we still allow smoking and all this kind of stuff. And I emailed back to him at his federal government email address.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I said, hey, thanks for the feedback. I'm actually a no vote on a smoking ban because I don't think it's the role of government to manage and micromanage private businesses. I think the market can decide this. As a matter of fact, if you'd driven one more block down, you could have gone to this restaurant where the food's better, and they choose not to allow smoking there. So the market does provide the options and the alternative, and you could punish the first business by not doing business with them. Really, you should be telling them, not me.
Yeah.
I didn't get a response from that.
No kidding. Okay,
Right.
so yeah, federal email address
Right.
didn't want to come back.
Didn't want to come back. I mean,
Okay.
And he probably never did come back to the town, but
Yeah, well.
that was my take on it. So with the county doing this, I mean, I get that that's the overall narrative. Even a lot of conservatives now this has been around so long that they're like, oh, yeah, well, this is okay. We can ban smoking because listen.
Wait a minute, conservatives caving?
Yes.
Oh, that never happens.
Imagine that.
That
yeah.
never happens.
You know, and it was a 5-0 vote. So some of our friends voted for it. There were a couple of council members who weren't there. I don't know which two weren't there. But the carve out to me is just hysterical with the casinos because they specifically say this will hurt our business. Okay, so which is it?
Right.
Is it about public health and the county government has a right to control businesses for that? Other than, well, this generates a lot of money, so just let them put the public in danger.
Yeah, no
if that's
kidding.
what we're thinking.
It's kind of amazing because you make the health comparison between the casino floor that's half smoking and half non-smoking,
right.
still indoors, still sharing basically the
Right.
same air for lack of more specifics, but then outdoors in the public space that the smokers also pay for, they're not allowed to smoke.
Right.
Yeah. Which one of these is a healthier environment in which to operate?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
Goodness.
government, what are you going to do?
Government.
Okay, update to the California case of Whack-A-Thief.
Who?
Yeah, you remember that one?
Oh, the Whack-A-Thief.
Whack-A-Thief.
Yes. I like that name. Okay.
So the mayor of Stockton, California, went on to social media because the news, as we talked about yesterday, came out that local prosecutors are now investigating these two clerks at this 7-Eleven store who got fed up and took it out on this thief who was trying to steal hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of tobacco and vape products, like brazenly.
Yeah.
So the mayor of Stockton, California, a guy by the name of Kevin Lincoln, goes onto social media and he announces that the two store clerks who smacked that brazen thief with a broomstick over 20 times will not be charged.
Yay. All right. Justice prevails.
Let me just add here, just as a little side note, he's a Republican.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I looked him up.
Okay.
All right.
Because I was curious to see, I wonder what his stance would be from either side, and he's a Republican.
Kevin, well, a guy by the last name of Lincoln better be a Republican.
Now, was the investigation portion of it just kind of standard operating procedure kind of stuff, or was it initially a preamble to actual charges?
Well, apparently the investigation is still going on.
Oh.
But he says they're not the subjects. They're not the targets.
Okay.
The thief is the target.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy talk right there.
Imagine
Oh
that.
my gosh. This is California, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he goes on to slam that state law that has provided all the incentive for people just to walk in and shoplift, the state law that says we're not going to prosecute if it's under X number of dollars, the one that basically empowered and greenlit all of these thefts that you see at Walgreens and Walmart and CVS and all of these places. Because you see people just walking in with trash bags and just loading it up and looking around like, you can't do anything to me, because they generally can't unless you're at the 7-Eleven in Stockton, California. Then you're going to get your ass beat by a couple of clerks.
Exactly. They throw hands there.
It's amazing to think that a political official in California actually stands up for law and order.
Right.
That's a shocker.
I am quite shocked, actually. I'm happily shocked. Absolutely. I think the people in that town would do well to keep that guy going.
Okay, so we talked about the Modesto B opinion piece that slammed these guys. It's like, that was an overreaction. It's never an excuse for violence just because he's stealing from your livelihood. And they have been roasted.
Oh, yes.
Nationwide.
Awesome. All right,
over
good.
their stupid opinion piece. So, but in the vein of that, let me just play a little devil's advocate here.
Okay.
At some point, can the reaction to the pro-criminal mindset, we see it in St. Louis, we see it at some point, can can the reaction to it go too far? Because if we've got business say that I'm not taking it anymore and I'm going to load up on Louisville Slugger baseball bats, or a bomb BAUM. Those are better bats anyway. But you get the bats that aren't going to break. Or I've got a bat. One of my buddies started a bat company called Hit Happens.
Oh, okay, nice.
And so you load up on baseball bats or tasers or whatever, and somebody goes to steal and you just start bashing people. At some point, does that go too far?
Yes, okay. I do think so. I mean, it's one thing to put a whooping on somebody, and it's another basically start breaking bones and causing like permanent damage to people, things like that. It's kind of like the difference between a fight, and getting jumped. You know what I mean? There's a difference there,
because there's a similarity still in St. Louis in that we know that you call 911, there's a big chance nobody's showing up.
You're on your own.
You're on your own, and criminals know that too. So they come into a convenience store, or they come into a grocery store, or they come into whatever, start ransacking and just start stealing places. I think we're going to start seeing more people going, I'm done. Here's my bat. Where's your kneecap? Where's your rib cage? And I understand where they're coming from. My only worry is that this spirals out of control. Then the reaction by the criminals, which some of them already do, as we know, is to say, well, they got a bat. I really want that stuff. I better pack my piece. And then the store owners are going to say, well, I'm ready to shoot first before they can shoot me. And then this is what happens with a pro-criminal mindset, is that you get this, anarchist sort of swirling the drain,
By the way, those maple bats are nice.
They are. I've got my new bat is maple.
Oh, no kidding.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I used to hit ash, but now I'm gone to maple. I don't think I'm going back. That is baseball geek talk right there.
See, the thing is, you mentioned that Irish pub, and now all I can think of is about shillelaghs.
Yes. Oh, man. All right, 314-912-1019, just ahead here. All right, what do you think? The first Republican debate's coming up. Donald Trump is indicating he's not going to show up to this, and he's kind of making fun of it and, talking down to his opponents. Should he show up and debate?
I've heard a lot of opinions about this.
Yeah, and I want to get yours. 314-912-1019. I'm about to ask the question on the Rumble chat box as well. So let me know what you think. Let's talk about it. Stell, Gabe, we're going to start with your opinions right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin Rob.
Well, it is definitely summer here in the heartland. Time to call Hanson's Tree Service for all of your commercial and residential tree care. Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. Let them come out to your homestead or your business today. Take care of everything regarding the exterior of your home. Grinding and land clearing, all residential and commercial tree services. They've got fantastic organic mulch in bulk. Plant health care as well. Give them a call, 636-379-1830, 24/7. They're always available at hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Let's cut a deal at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Save up to $5,000 on a select John Deere compact tractor package with our exclusive 10-year warranty. And to make things better, we're offering 0% financing for 60 months with zero down. Get your John Deere equipment by shopping online or visiting us at any of our 28 locations. Let's cut a deal now at Seidenstricker Nobe, snpartners.com.
Offer valid through 9/30/2023. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Columbo and Katie.
First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence. But ultimately what it is it's about machine learning.
Shouldn't you have something prepared?
This is her prepared.
Opening up the book,
This is it. It's either that, you're getting talked to like you're 3, or she just rambles on about absolutely nothing and makes no sense whatsoever.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Columbo here with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. The team that we have relied on many times over the years to rescue our home has a great special to celebrate the month of August. Book a cleaning now and mention the Columbo special, and you can get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can get $75 off an air duct cleaning to help relieve allergies and asthma and lower your energy bills. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning here on News Talk STL.
August 23rd. All right, that's the date of the first GOP presidential debate.
2 weeks from yesterday, by the way.
2 weeks from yesterday, yep, just under 2 weeks from right now. This is the one controlled by the RNC, which is demanding to be a monopoly on the debates, but that's a whole other debate situation we can talk about.
Yeah.
All right, by the way, it looks like the Department of Justice, specifically the FBI, is caught in another lie, and this one's big.
Oh.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Let's do that right around 6:50.
Okay.
Just letting you know that's ahead. And then at 6:35 here, Cori Bush goes all Cori Bush again. Okay, I'm Mike. That's Gabe Estelle. Okay, here's what's going on here. We're less than 2 weeks, Estelle just said, from the first Republican presidential debate. And here are basically the list of people who have qualified under the RNC's pretty much arbitrary rules. So obviously Donald Trump.
Right.
Obviously Ron DeSantis. Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, and it appears now that Mike Pence has. They have all made it into the debate. The others so far have not qualified. So we're talking Governor Burgum, Larry Elder, Asa Hutchinson, Chris Christie. I know there's somebody I'm missing, but so they have not yet qualified under the RNC's rules, but these candidates have.
Miami's mayor, Suarez.
Suarez has not
not
qualified at this point yet.
And these rules include a threshold for individual donors.
40,000 individual, which is why you see ads everywhere saying donate $1.
Right.
And there's one guy out there, I forgot his name, who's actually saying donate $1 and I'll send you a $20 gas gift card.
At least he's not sending Bud Light gift cards.
No, he's not doing that.
That's
I don't
because they're not worth $1.
The ads are so effective. I don't even remember the guy's name. So some apparently rich guy wants to get in. And so on Fox and Friends yesterday, Senator Tim Scott was on, and one of the questions came up about the debates, because Tim Scott's looking forward to getting into those debates. I think Tim Scott will probably do really well in those debates. And they were asked about, Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has so far, he's not said for sure one way or the other, but he's strongly indicating that he's not going to show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been making fun of the thing the whole time.
He's been making fun of it. He's been, talking down about his opponents and indicating that he's not going to bother with it. Essentially, Donald Trump is trying to argue, listen, this thing's over. I'm just going to move on with my general election campaign. Here's what Tim Scott had to say.
The American people deserve to see every single one of us that qualifies for the debate stage on that stage talking about our vision for America and how our presidency would change the tide away from this terrible, disastrous presidency of President Biden.
Okay, so we're not even to the first caucus or the first primary. So and we'll start, Gabe, with you and Stell, should Donald Trump be there and debate? I mean,
is that something he should be doing as a candidate to face off against his opponents?
Yeah, in my view, as a party member, as it were, or at least a voter in the primaries, I think all candidates whose name is on the ballot need to be at all of the debates because I think it's good. It's good for the party. It's good for the conservative movement. It's good certainly for the voters to hear what each of these candidates has to say, even if you've already made up your mind. Because the good for the movement, good for the party aspect of it is having the conversations we need to have, setting our priorities, understanding where we're all coming from, and there's going to be some information, there's going to be some stances, some ideas that come out of this that maybe the top candidate never had, or nobody in his circle had. So it might benefit him even if he does go on to win the nomination and become president.
So I'm hearing you say yes, Donald Trump should be there.
Yes.
Stell, what do you think?
Well, oddly enough, this is maybe the first time in ages that I disagree with Gabe.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I don't think he needs to be there. I honestly don't feel like he's necessary to the debate. I think it would add a circus atmosphere on the one side. And the other side is everybody knows where he stands, I think, on most issues. So I say if he doesn't want to be there, fine. Don't be there. Let everyone else discuss things in an adult manner. And they can move on from that. But no, I don't think he needs to be there. And besides, it'll give him a chance to figure out, do I want to consider any of these folks as my vice presidential nominee?
Well, see, but he has said that too. He's like, I'll let them debate to see if I'll consider any of them. Well, first of all, you haven't won the nomination yet, dude. The polls are showing you ahead. And that's, to me, is another distasteful turnoff he risks putting to people. I think he should be there. I think he owes it to the Republican voters to be there. I think that, he needs to understand that he hasn't won the nomination. He should not be taking it for granted. And that the other candidates in the race should, according to the Republican Party's, outlook here, they should have the right to challenge each other. And what he's doing is he's got a massive platform, obviously, with everything he does with the media, major media, and everybody who looks at his social media. But he basically will be able to take pot shots at them without being there to be challenged by them. I think that's a disservice to voters.
I think from his perspective, he looks at the RNC as being run by rhinos. And he doesn't want to have anything to do with rhinos. Well, so I say for him, then don't show up. That's okay. If that's your feeling, fine.
Oh, I get that. I don't think anybody should be sending a penny to the RNC. But to me, it's more about you want the votes of these voters in the Republican primaries and the caucuses. You should be there to challenge and be challenged by your opponents in person.
Still, though, I do think you bring up an interesting point, though, in the idea that the conversation may turn out to be a little bit more adult without him there.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because
his tendency to throw insults and throw bombs at people may actually derail a good conversation.
I'm just bummed out Larry Elder won't be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's where with the RNC, that's why I say these are arbitrary rules, and I could go on and on and on about how the RNC is deciding that they're going to be kingmaker and arbitrary and all of this, but that's a whole other thing that I'm sure we're going to get to. The idea that Larry Elder is not going to be there, the idea that a former vice president almost didn't make it, I mean, the idea that former governors and current governors aren't, I mean, that's just... It shows that the RNC just wants to strong arm and keep control of a bunch of candidates, which they're not going to be able to do.
Now, do they have an interest, though, in keeping the field smaller?
Well, yeah, from an engagement perspective, because you saw what happened with the Democrats in 2020, where they had like 15 people up there. But the bottom line is if you've got a lot of candidates who have any sort of credibility, not every gadfly should get there. I'm not saying there shouldn't be anything, out there. I mean, when you look at third parties that are mad, like, let us debate the Republicans and Democrats, we're like, you get less than 1% of the vote and you're on the ballot in 3 states. You know what? You're not a factor to this.
Right.
All right. 314-912-1019. Going to start with Drew. All right. Drew, thanks for being on the show. Should Donald Trump be at the debate?
I'm gonna side with Stell on this one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say Trump's actually being favorable and generous to the other candidates because this is where he shines the most is in the debates. So if he shows up, I'm sorry, I think he's gonna crush all the other candidates.
Well, then why wouldn't he show up then?
someone's in power or has power, and they feign themselves to get on the stage with people who aren't even polling in the barely double digits, it's kind of like a Major League Baseball player showing up to a Little League.
Yeah, I mean, I get the strategic aspect of it. I mean, I really do. I understand that because there's everything to lose, and somebody would argue, and Drew, I think this is where you're coming from, nothing to gain for Trump to be there, but he have something to lose if he has a bad performance on that. But if you're a voter, you say, I want to compare and contrast all of the candidates. Shouldn't the voters be demanding that? So to me, it's not about his treatment of the other candidates. It's him being willing to be challenged by his opponents and saying you're going to stand on the stage and go toe to toe with them.
And I think that's a fair point too. I think I would also just say, in general, and I could be wrong, just from what I feel, from what I've seen, it seems like the American people know where he stands on just about everything. But I do see the point of view too that, hey, it'd be nice to see him toss ideas around with his current field of competitors. But then again, let's see who makes it through. And maybe I guarantee he'll show up at the second round, whatever that is. But yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. Hey, man, Drew, appreciate you being part of the program, which the second one I know is happening at the Ronald Reagan Library. I think it's in September, but I forgot the date. I'm so focused on this one. Jay Monty agrees with Drew on Rumble. He says, no, it'll mean more to Fox and the other candidates than it will mean to Trump. He doesn't need to be there to live right now in other candidates' heads. I think that's kind of what you were saying, Stell, as well, I think, right?
And also we got a comment from Paul on Facebook. The RNC's a joke.
I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're always 5 steps behind the Democrats.
Well, I'd say maybe 10
steps.
Yes. No, he's
giving him too much credit.
The RNC is absolutely a joke,
Yes.
without a question on that. So, all right, interesting. I think maybe later this morning we'll come to that after
revisit.
has another cup of coffee or two on there. Okay, just ahead here. Let's maybe about 6:35 or so. Oh, you know who we could talk about that'll really brighten the day?
Who?
Corey Bush.
Oh, yeah. That always makes my morning.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to go Bush League at 6:35 in the morning.
But I'll tell you what stuff she said on the internet, the internet was not having it, by the way.
Okay, good.
All right, so 6:35, we'll have that conversation right here on 101.9 News Talk STL. By the way, keep your comments coming on the debate thing. I'm going to keep watching Rumble because we're going to talk about this again a little bit later on. So much interest in this. That's still ahead here. 101.9 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A dense fog advisory in effect until 9 a.m. The fog is thick in spots. Be careful out there, folks. Give yourself plenty of distance between you and the vehicles around you. The fog should lift quickly mid-morning, making way for partly cloudy and eventually mostly sunny skies. A high of 87 this afternoon. Mostly clear tonight, down to about 70. Partly cloudy and warmer Friday, a high of 93. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
Longwood, kiss that baby goodbye. It's gone a mile. Simmons touches them all.
On Friday, August 18th, the Cardinals host the Mets, and that night, 25,000 fans aged 16 and older take home a Cardinals Hall of Fame Car Parade bobblehead thanks to Ford. Fans will be surprised at the gates when they receive one of 2 mystery bobbleheads. Will it be Matt Holliday or will it be Ted Simmons? Which one will you get? Find out August 18th. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
The Cardinals are proud to celebrate our troops and veterans. Military Appreciation Night presented by Bally Sports Midwest is Friday, August 18th when the Cardinals host the Mets. With the purchase of a special theme ticket, fans will receive an exclusive Cardinals cap honoring their favorite branch of the military, Air Force, Army, Coast Guard, Marines, or Navy. A portion of each ticket purchased will be donated to USO Missouri. For more information, visit cardinals.com/theme.
This is Navy veteran and former Cardinal Mitch Harris. Thank you for being the best fans in baseball.
Wake up, people. You are optimizing every waking hour of your life. From carpooling kids, to work, to friends, and everything in between. You have to get sleep and a bed that can perform as well as you do. Meet the next generation Sleep Number Smart Bed. It effortlessly adjusts to your shape, position, and movements, learning how you sleep so you learn to sleep better night after night. Sleep next level, only from Sleep Number.
It's the biggest sale of the year. Save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed, plus special financing. Ends Monday. See store for details.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races. I think about work, the kids, but I don't think about taking melatonin because I'm afraid I'll feel groggy in the morning.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies has an optimal dose of melatonin for no next-day grogginess, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake up feeling refreshed. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies for better sleep like never before. And try Pure Z Sleep plus Next Day Energy with melatonin plus extended release B vitamins.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The latest bank records documented by the Oversight Committee showing another $20 million going to Joe Biden. How close are we getting to impeaching Biden?
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I know that drum beat.
Right on the money.
There we are. The theme of the week. Found it. Figured it out on Wednesday. Eddie Money.
Gabe said he liked this one.
I do.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Shaken.
Mm-hmm.
She was shaking, snapping her fingers.
And I know my 80s rock. It took like 2 beats, and I knew it.
Yeah, you were right on top of it.
All right, 6:37. I'm Mike. That's Gabe. That's Del. Okay, by the way, I'm so sorry, Gabe. I did not get you a card. Yesterday was the anniversary of the Michael Brown situation.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, yeah. I mean, you were supposed to get me something.
I did not.
It's part of the reparations package.
Yeah, exactly. So sorry about that. I'll get you 2 cards next year.
Okay, all right.
So
we'll get you some white supremacy coffee too.
Yes,
That's right.
please.
Corey Bush. Corey Bush does what Corey Bush does. She goes on the internet and says stupid stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
So she on this here radio.
Yeah, she goes on there, and let me just read her statements. She says, and I quote, "Today is the 9th anniversary of Michael Brown's killing. He would be alive today if the institutions of racism and white supremacy were eradicated. He should be alive today. We will never forget. We will continue to fight for justice and accountability." She got the added readers content on Twitter.
Oh, I love the community notes. I really do.
Internet was not having it. And the readers added content, and let me just read what was posted on there.
Yes.
Brown robbed a convenience store, attacked Officer Wilson, reached into his patrol vehicle and struggled over the police firearm and was discharged, then charged the officer at gunpoint resisting arrest. Investigations, including Obama's Department of Justice, ruled race was not a factor, and then they put a link to a U.S. Department of Justice page that
describes
confirms
all
all
that.
of this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now remember, because that was federal civil rights. There were 2 investigations of that, and both of them under Eric Holder as the Attorney General and Barack Obama as the president,
who had an interest in this going a certain way.
Who made it very clear what they wanted the outcome to be. They both ended up dropping it against Darren Wilson, who's, by the way, Darren Wilson's been driven out of his career completely.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Destroyed.
Corey Bush, once again, lying about what happened and the narrative.
At least you didn't say hands up, don't shoot.
Right.
That was the narrative that came out of it.
Yeah,
You're
sure,
right. That
sure
lie.
was.
Yeah.
That spread everywhere.
Ferguson burned down over lies. Okay,
Yep.
now I'm not here to rehash everything that happened with Michael Brown. Even the most angry BLM supporter, if they were to actually have a rare moment of intellectual honesty, would have to admit, okay, that was, that was
a little
all
much.
crap. He brought it, he caused it himself.
Mhm.
And then of course they would run and try to justify the violence other ways. And so Cori Bush just decides to, it's amazing that there's somebody who is that not only tone deaf, but blatantly lies.
Mm-hmm.
Probably knowing that she lies.
Yes.
Now, I've interviewed her a couple times. I've met her a couple times. It's been years ago, but she was on my old TV show a couple times when she was running for Congress. She never impressed me as the brightest person I'd ever interviewed. I just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's
very kind of you.
Yeah, I'm trying to show as much due respect as I can for the office.
Sure.
She was elected by a lot of foolish people.
Yes.
But when she goes on, this is a matter of intentionally sowing the seeds of division and of hate and of false narrative and of everything that is tearing the nation apart. And she's happy to do it, apparently.
Yeah, I don't think she qualifies as the useful idiot type of commie that we have in America. She's definitely the knowing, power hungry type of commie, and those are the worst kind.
You gave that whole little litany there, Mike. I got to give props to the writer of the article that's in Red State. I think it was Sister Told You.
I'm looking at it right now. Yep.
Her comment that Bush commits racial arson.
Yes.
Oh,
it's a great term. I noticed that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a great term.
Yeah. And that's what she does. She's been caught in lie after lie. Remember, she's the one who said that white supremacists were shooting at a Black Lives Matter protest.
Oh, yeah, from
a
a grassy hill, and they were
Right.
taking cover behind cars and stuff like that.
Right.
It's similar to the sniper that was going after Hillary and overseas. Yeah, it's the same deal. Same deal.
Yeah. And, of course, she was part of the mob that had the confrontation with Mark and Patty McCloskey, as well. And so she just finds a way to inject herself and then change the actual story.
Yes.
Of course, she's also one who claimed that, she couldn't pay her, $1,200 utility bill in a one-bedroom apartment.
She became homeless. And
right.
She had that homeless protest where she was sleeping outside the steps of something or the Capitol. Yeah.
And, she brags about her abortions, but she's an ordained reverend.
Oh, man.
I remember that from the signs that first came out because I lived in her district. Those signs mentioned that she was pastor. And I asked so many people in our neighborhood, some of whom knew her personally, and what church is she pastoring or where is she a pastor? They had no idea where she was pastoring anywhere. So I don't know if she just threw that up on her signs that were up all over South City. But that was one of the things that listed on there, and boy, that really turned me off. I thought, you know what, are you just using that as some sort of comment on making yourself look good? No, sorry.
Maybe I'll go get one of those online ordinations.
Yeah, I was going to
I
say.
could probably do that during a commercial break.
That might have been what it was.
And then we'll have to rename the show Reverend Mike Ferguson.
Yeah, she's a pastor of the First Church of Commies. That's what she is right now at this point. Because that's all she does. She pushes her communist ideals out. She lies about real life situations in order to support that narrative.
Right, and then of course you get to this sort of phenomenal arrogance. And the funny part is that locally here, there are a lot of people saying we've got to vote her out. She's an embarrassment to St. Louis, which she is. Nationally speaking, and I actually was speaking with some folks who are involved in the campaigns on the Republican side here. They were frustrated that they couldn't get more support from the party to run against her.
Oh, my gosh.
And finally I said, guys, you know what's going on here, right? You think the RNC, being the joke that it is, they want her in office.
Oh, yeah.
They just wait for her to say something incendiary and stupid, and she's in ads for every other district around the country. She is a cash cow for the Republicans because she is who she is, and she is what she is.
You have a little video snippet of her going off, and you attach your donate here button at the bottom of the email, and there you go, right?
Yeah, so that's why, good candidates, and there is somebody who's preparing to run again who's going to be a good candidate in that race. But if he's going to have any sort of chance to have any impact in this race, it's going to have to be grassroots right here in St. Louis, because I wouldn't expect the RNC to give him a dime, to be real honest.
Yeah.
Because that's how the RNC rolls.
Yeah, why do we put up with them? Why do we put up with the RNC? I mean, the way they are. I mean, honestly, it's like they are supposed to be the ones who fight for conservative values in our government. They're the only ones who at least have some bit of crossover in the Venn diagram of values, or at least they say that they are that way. But they fail us every time.
Yeah,
every time. I don't understand.
It's trying to figure out the RNC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so Cori Bush there planting, but when you look at her, like for instance, let me look at her quotes. I'm going to click on her Twitter.
Do we have to look at her quotes?
Well, so I'm looking at the responses to it. So there she is, so I'm on Twitter right now on the actual thing that's still up, and that reader feedback is still there. And Prager University, has jumped in on this. Liz Wheeler has done this, and she's just basically getting ratioed like crazy, completely.
Mm-hmm.
And, very, very few people are responding. I'm sure there are some of her, criminal element,
yeah,
left-wing Antifa types who
they're
are
poking
like,
their head in there, I'm sure.
You go, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I'm sure they're out there. So, but the bottom line is she is still just a phenomenal embarrassment to the entire St. Louis region.
I hate seeing her in national news every time, because I'm like, oh, I feel like secondhand embarrassment, because of everything she says.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't live in her district anymore, so that's on you, man. You
Dang it.
I did live in her district, and then they redrew the lines. And her district's now a couple blocks from me, but I'm not in it anymore.
You got out.
All right. 314-912-1019. All right. The Department of Justice, the FBI, caught in another lie. And this is a big one. Okay. We've talked about this story, but we thought it was an isolated incident because they told us so and we believed them. Well, we didn't. I think all of us in this room went, yeah, I bet you there's more to that. Turns out we were right. I'll tell you what they lied about and why everybody, particularly people of faith, should be paying attention to this. That's just ahead right around 6:50 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
We all know the healthcare system's broken. It's not about you. It's about the code, the bill, the 7-minute appointment. Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, and I've developed a better way that restores old-fashioned values with a holistic approach to your health care. That means affordable, available, no copay or deductible primary care. And with my 30-plus years as an OBGYN, there's added value for women and couples. Whether it's a new or nagging problem, you need a second look at a troubling diagnosis, or simply want a trusting, relationship-based healthcare experience, give us a look at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Our mission is to provide exceptional, accessible, and truly affordable care where the focus is on you, not insurance denial and cookbook medicine experts. And with your membership, there's a number of perks, including hundreds of free meds, in-office ultrasound, common diagnostic tests, and more. Interested in seeing me or learning more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule an appointment or a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, this is Kira Davis, and you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Didn't see this one coming still.
I thought I would toss this one in there just because you like Heart.
I do. And I don't care what, like, longtime hardcore classic rock Heart fans say. Their 80s stuff was good. I mean, a little poppy, but good.
Is there a bit of a division there in the fan base?
Because this album's called Bad Animals.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, this was like the MTV era, a little more of a poppy thing. It's like a different thing than like Barracuda. And their old, Seattle rock scene.
Magic Man,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not as hard
and, like true old-timey Heart fans were like, oh, they've sold out.
Right.
I'm like, no, they're selling millions of records and then playing Magic Man and Barracuda at their concerts and, So, but no, this was good stuff. It was great.
Yeah.
Videos were weird, though.
Selling doesn't necessarily mean selling out.
I mean, there was the MTV, like they had the videos like where you'd have a panther walking upstairs for no reason whatsoever, and a horse walking by the shades that were blowing, the curtains that were like things that made no sense.
Yeah, the backlit smoke moving through.
Yeah.
Oh man, I miss 80s videos.
I know.
They were wild.
I may have to look this one up here. Okay, 6:52. Let's talk about something a little bit more important than that.
I think it was all the drugs.
Gabe here, Stell here. I'm Mike. Okay, so the FBI was caught. Then they backtracked. Just a little quick reminder here. When it was discovered that they were looking at traditional Catholic believers as possible domestic threats. You remember this?
I do remember.
I think we're
that.
going back 6 months or something like that. But they assured us that the memo in question that was leaked, that got all the attention, it was a mistake. It was in one office. They've addressed it. They put the kibosh on it. They made it clear that that's not going to happen. But it looks like they lied.
What?
I know.
Are you saying the FBI lied to us?
I know.
About something they're doing to us?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Okay, so here's where we're at with this. Congressman Jim Jordan was on, let's see here, he was on Hannity last night, and he was asked about this, but because here's what it comes down to, is that it looks like there were similar communications and there were similar efforts in multiple offices of the FBI around the country.
It now shows that FBI Portland was involved, FBI Los Angeles was involved, so it wasn't just one-off, it wasn't just Richmond, it was broader than that. And never forget the term they use, Sean, radical traditional Catholic.
So, I'm looking at Town Hall's got a really good article on this as well. The weaponized Department of Justice was looking to target and, remember, infiltrate Catholic churches, something that the FBI Director Christopher Wray tried to downplay, and he was assuring everybody it was just that Richmond field office. Hey, we isolated it. Somebody got a little out of hand out there, but that's not the case. On Wednesday, a letter was revealed, and Chairman Jim Jordan, who you just heard from, and subcommittee, the chairman of the subcommittee on the Constitution and Limited Government, Mike Johnson, They sent a letter to Ray saying that in a back and forth with Ray for months about this, they are close to or they are about to issue subpoenas threatening to hold Ray in contempt for documents that were provided in July that they don't feel like they got everything there. So here's what happens is Jordan and Johnson in their letter are saying, let me read from it. This new information suggests that the FBI's use of its law enforcement capabilities to intrude on America's First Amendment rights is more widespread than initially suspected and reveals inconsistencies with your previous testimony before the committee. Given this startling new information, we write to request additional information to advance our oversight. Okay? So what you've got is apparently a pattern, at least that's the accusation, that in the FBI and the DOJ targeting this particular denomination and particular movement within the denomination.
Well, you know what? For folks who are not Catholic, you may not understand exactly what's going on here because they were going after churches that do the Latin Mass. So I'm wondering, the FBI doesn't understand Latin? Is that what the problem is? They have an issue with, we could be doing something covert here because they're speaking in Latin from the altar.
Radical traditionalists.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and I don't think, I'm not Catholic. I don't think anybody in here is.
Nope.
But and the Latin Mass churches, as I understand it, and one of my Catholic friends is probably about to text me, that they tend to be the more conservative ones.
Oh, yes. It's very old school.
Yeah, the more uncompromising on
Vatican I, it's the early stuff. Yes.
Yep, that's my understanding too.
Yeah.
The more uncompromising on abortion and same-sex marriage and gender issues and all of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with any sort of national security.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's like you're never gonna hear a Latin Mass discussing bombing someplace.
Right. I was going to say, what you are going to see these Catholics doing are going to be praying outside of abortion clinics with some flowers, but you're not going to see them doing anything violent.
We're not talking any firebombs here.
No.
We're talking about prayers.
And the one other thing you need to tie in together is that the Richmond office was the first one, and guess whose traditional Catholic church is in that district? Stephen K. Bannon's family church that his parents started, which is a Latin-based Catholic church. I find that very interesting and pretty suspicious from my perspective.
Yeah, I don't know that Bannon's relevant enough anymore to have them go after him in particular, but anybody where there's a conservative movement going on, and everybody who's a person of faith at all, regardless of which denomination, you've got a government right now, an administration that's willing to target you for your religious and social beliefs.
Just assume you're next.
Yep.
When you've got something to say, be heard loud and clear.
If they'll just do what they were voted in to do.
This party needs to get a backbone. They need to get some spine.
Join the conversation. St. Louis's place to talk.
The Democrats and the Republicans can give us all the lip service they want, but what they need to do is take action today.
101.9 and 94.1.
You have to take a stand sometimes.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
You can spend a lot of restless nights trying to figure out how you're going to make all those credit card payments. Why not consolidate all your debt into one manageable payment? My friends at Homestead Financial Mortgage can help with a cash-out refinance. Contact them today. Take the first step in regaining your financial freedom. Use my website, larry.homesteadfinancial.com. Take charge of your financial future. Go to my website, larry.homesteadfinancial.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Human trafficking is occurring right here in Missouri. You can help combat it by learning the signs of human trafficking and reporting suspicious activity to law enforcement. Victims may appear malnourished, show signs of mental or physical abuse, or avoid social interaction. If you're a victim or know someone who needs help, contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888 or text the word HELP to Be Free. Together, we can fight human trafficking in Missouri.
Brought to you by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Mystic Fix is sponsored by Kama Flight, redefining the dance between the masculine and feminine. Kama Flight is a somatic movement practice merging yoga, meditation, and massage. Workshops in 2023 are at the Chosen Retreat Center in Sebastian, Florida. For more, visit Kama Flight on Instagram at KAMAFLIGHT.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Thomason. 3 dozen lives lost, along with a significant share of Hawaiian history in the wildfire that has devastated Maui.
At least 36 people have died in the fire that swept through Lahaina, Hawaii on Tuesday, according to a statement posted to the Maui County website. Strong winds from Hurricane Dora drove flames through the night and knocked out power and communication lines, surprising many residents and forcing both adults and children to flee to the ocean. Officials said over 270 structures, including a school, a senior center, and historic buildings, were burned. Officials have set up a shelter at a convention center on Oahu and advised visitors planning to head to Maui to consider alternative accommodations in Hawaii.
Correspondent Jennifer King, in the words of one tour operator, all the places that are tourist areas that are Hawaiian history are gone. That can't be replaced. Republicans, led by House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, continue digging into the Biden family's foreign business dealings.
The latest revelation follows 2 previous memos tying Biden family members to payments linked to China and Romania. According to the committee, foreign payments to the Biden family now total over $20 million, including from Hunter Biden's associates in Russia, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine, some of whom dined with his father in D.C. while he was vice president.
Correspondent Edwin Mora. The Mar-a-Lago property manager and an aide to former President Trump are due back in court today in Florida. It has to do with the classified documents case. A crash involving an RV and a tractor-trailer rig on a Pennsylvania interstate has claimed 5 lives. This happened last night along I-81 near Chambersburg, PA. Police say the RV crossed the median, hitting the big rig. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures are higher. The Dow futures up 161 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 80 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here. Sue and I mean it when we say dogs are part of our family, and there's nothing like their loyal companionship. So we provide them with Rough Greens, R-U-F-F, because we want them to feel healthy and be with us as long as possible. I know Charlie Kirk feels the same way.
The Pragers and I couldn't agree more. I rely on my trusted furry friend, Mr. Briggs, who's an absolute machine, and he relies on me to provide what's best for him. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black has packed Rough Greens, not a dog food, but a supplement full of vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, and omega oils that Mr. Briggs absolutely needs and loves. Trying Rough Greens for your dog just makes sense.
Greetings, Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here. I'm honored that the Pragers and Charlie trust their dog's health to Rough Green. I'm so confident that Rough Green can help your dog too that I'm offering you a free Jumpstart trial bag. Just cover the shipping. Yes, dog food is dead food, but it doesn't have to be. Go to ruffgreens.com.
A tropical storm is dumping huge amounts of rain.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A dense fog advisory in effect until 9 a.m. The fog is thick in spots. Be careful out there, folks. Give yourself plenty of distance between you and the vehicles around you. The fog should lift quickly mid-morning, making way for partly cloudy and eventually mostly sunny skies. A high of 87 this afternoon. Mostly clear tonight, down to about 70. Partly cloudy and warmer Friday, a high of 93. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
You know, when it comes to the weather, of course, right now we're enjoying some nice weather, 70s and 80s. It's been really hot. We know that those winters are coming, right? And that means that you want your home to be as energy efficient as possible. That's why you should call my friends at Window World. Mike Ferguson here for Window World. They are simply the best for less, not just because they have that double strength glass, which they do, not just because it's going to be less expensive right up front, even when you compare it to some of those generic windows, you may go the best for less. Remember that. Take that seriously. But also because after over 20 years in business here and over 70,000 customers in St. Louis, Window World continues to make improvements, and they get better, and they get better, and they get better. And one of the things they're able to do, not just save you money up front, but they're going to be able to save you money during the hot and cold seasons. Remember, when it gets cold outside, really cold like we get here in St. Louis, you're thinking, man, I can feel that breeze coming through that window. I can feel that coming through that screen door, which, by the way, they make screen doors too. And it's costing you extra money when you've got to crank up that furnace. You got to keep that gas fireplace on just a little bit longer. Well, they can help with that, keeping your home energy efficient. Also, of course, right now, we're going to have another hot streak. We're going to have another heat wave. We know it's inevitable at some point here. And we want to keep your home and your air conditioning inside your home. That's why your windows matter to your house. People think about the importance of the roof, and it is. The foundation, absolutely. The structure, yes, the windows are part of that structure. That's why you should call my friends at Window World, 314-993-1800. 314-993-1800. Window World offers 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So the already affordable windows are even more affordable to get into your home and improve them with that double strength glass and custom installment. Give them a call today. Let them show you what they can do for you. Once again, 314-993-1800. WindowWorld.com is the website. But the best thing, call our friends in Earth City, 314-993-1800. Talk to your friends right here in St. Louis who are ready to improve the look and the performance of your home. That's Window World.
News, analysis.
I'm glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
All right, Disney pushes more gender confusion and, I'll call it what it is, grooming on social media. The company is probably completely irredeemable at this point. That is probably not going to go over well with everybody.
Disney is cringe.
Yeah, including somebody in this business, in this building. But I'm saying is I think they are completely irredeemable at this point. Hear it for yourself here in just a moment. By the way, if you haven't already signed up for the News Talk STL newsletter, you are getting left behind. Don't do it. Just go to newstalkstl.com and you can sign up. It's free. We do not sell or share your contact information. And once a week, you get this really fun newsletter that's got everything from news and analysis that you won't hear or see anywhere else, usually some video and an exclusive cartoon from our very own Todd Showalter, who now has a program every weekend
that's
here
right.
on News Talk STL. All right, Gabe Pfeiffer's here. Stel Ponticus is here. My name is Mike Ferguson. Still ahead here, one local government says, you know what we need to do? We need to tighten up that smoking ban to protect people's health, except for these businesses who really need to be able to let people smoke because they will lose money if we do it there. So rules are almost universal across the board. Just depends on who you are.
Right, exactly.
So we'll talk about that.
And how much tax revenue we can charge.
And so you cannot smoke outside in some parks now, but there's some businesses that get a carve out.
Yeah, of
So
course.
we'll talk about
it's
that.
for your health, Mike.
That's right. Yeah, that's what it is. 7:35. Pro-life efforts in Ohio got a setback this week with the election. Are there any lessons for Missouri? Because pro-abortion activists are really targeting the Show Me State.
They are on the move.
Oh, they really, really want to overturn Missouri's pro-life laws. So 7:35, we're having that discussion as well. Okay, been a while since Disney has been in the headlines. Months ago, 5, 6, 7 months ago, something like that, Chris Rufo, the journalist, was one of those who got a hold of an internal meeting, like they had their own internal version of Zoom. And they had a meeting with their creative types and their creative managers where they were speaking pretty freely and they were saying out loud what we've been accusing them of for years.
Yes.
Which is saying, we've got this platform, we target children, we absolutely are going to push an LGBT agenda. And it's not coded, it was explicit.
No, they said a not so secret gay agenda. That's a quote.
Yes.
From one of their their leaders who also bragged about having 2 trans kids.
Right.
You know, a statistical anomaly anywhere in the universe.
Correct. And so what they were doing was confirming what we have been suspecting and accusing them of, which is that Disney, formerly the most family-friendly entertainment company out there, has simply gone to the far left cultural Marxism, and they have gone to a state of basically being groomers now.
Yes.
You know, there's the video now that went out there of like one of the shops where it's like princess dresses, and they have a dude in a dress, like in a mustache.
He's got a full beard, I think.
Yeah, full on flamboyant. I'm one of the princess's apprentices. You know, he's just prancing around. It's ridiculous. And so on TikTok, Disney, and this is not unusual, they have several different versions of their presence on social media. One of them is Disney Style.
Right.
Okay, you know, that's fine. And what they did is they partnered with this guy named Sean Altman, and he describes himself as gender fluid, whatever that means. It means that he's just, you know, he's a gay guy, he's bi, whatever, you know. Live your life, whatever you want there, dude. And so he goes on this TikTok, which is aimed at young people, which is aimed at kids.
Yeah, because it's Disney.
Disney Style. And he gives a tutorial on how to dress up in a dress like Minnie Mouse. Now, remember, this is an official Disney page, and this is what this guy's doing.
Let's get dressed. Today, we're looking at the most iconic friend group, Disney's Mickey and Friends. And the character most like me is Minnie Mouse. And I have the most perfect dress to start the look. It even has little Mickeys on it, and I love how bold of a red it is. It's just like Minnie. I'm thinking of layering a fun collar, like this one, just to give it a little more flair. But now I feel like the dress needs more
This
shape.
is a real thing.
So
This isn't
let's add
parody.
this white petticoat under it. It's so fun to move in, and I love how it peeks out at the bottom. And to add even more shape, this belt should do the trick. Now for hair, I'm thinking of doing space buns. So let's pull out my hair donuts, and just like that, it kind of looks like I have Minnie ears. And Minnie wears gloves, so I need gloves. I'm also going to add this watch with Minnie and all her friends on it. It's so cute. But now, to be as bold as Minnie, I need a bold red lip. It's a classic, and it's so pretty. Now, let's add some black tights and pull out the iconic yellow pump. I'm just like Minnie Mouse. But wait, something's missing. I know. How could I forget? A giant red bow, the biggest fashion statement. And now the look is complete. I literally look like Minnie Mouse, and I fit in perfectly with Mickey and his friends. The bow with the dress and the shoes really sealed the deal. Now I'm fashionable, bold, and fun, just like Minnie Mouse.
Oh my gosh.
And he's prancing around and doing the little girly dips and all this kind of stuff. Okay, now listen, dude, you want to live how you going to live, man.
Yeah, sure.
I don't care. You got your own social media platforms, which I guess he's got a lot of followers on there. Okay, that's not really even so much about him. You know what? He's probably too far gone, personally, for us to ever come to common ground with this guy. But Disney says, ooh, that's the guy that we want to market to kids.
Right.
This dude prancing around, putting on the dress and the bow and the makeup and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so what you have here is Disney once again reaffirming that they are pushing the gender confusion and ideology on children, not just in their shows, but also on their social media.
They are groomers in chief at this point. Yeah. Because I can imagine what this would have been like back in the day when my daughter was young and watching, Disney Channel things. They had a lot of shows for tweens on Disney Channel, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids having their hijinks and they're having, little comedies and things like that. I could see one of those girls doing basically this exact same thing, exact script and everything, and it wouldn't give you the freaking creeps,
right?
Because it's a girl talking to other girls her age about doing a Disney thing,
right?
And the fact that Disney could look at this and say, oh, this is good, this is what we want. We're not going to go for the other 13-year-old girl influencer who likes Disney. We're going to pick this weird adult man to talk to the young girls who are tuning into our social media right now. The fact that they would make that choice says a whole lot about the direction they're going.
I don't know the names of the Disney starlets at this point.
Well, yeah,
there's somebody out
all
there.
The ones who were in when we were dealing with it,
right.
they're grown-ups now and they're prancing on stages.
Right.
These
So
days,
if you
but
had
that's a whole
Ariana
other thing.
Grande doing this,
right?
Okay,
back in the day,
whatever. I'm not even
Back in
going to
the day.
know it existed.
Right. Sure.
With this one, and I found the story at theblaze.com,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where they linked to the actual video itself. So I wanted to double check because whenever I see, even if it's on a conservative site, I always want to go back to the original source to make sure that I'm getting it right. Because you know what? Hey, conservative media comes from a perspective just like liberal media does. I tried to go back and I found Disney Styles TikTok page.
Yeah.
And sure enough, there it is being promoted by Disney, this man doing the prancy dress thing. Listen, this isn't one of those things, I think, where you just get so numb to it that you roll your eyes like, well, it's the way it is.
No, you can't.
Parents, you've got to constantly reiterate the perversion of this. And this is what Disney is all about right now.
Yeah, I did a video on my YouTube channel about Disney, the fall of Disney. Basically, I call it Tragic Kingdom. Basically,
it was a good video.
Because
good video.
I mean, it just kind of details this whole thing. Because back in the day, Disney used to be the babysitter. All of us latchkey kids, we'd go home and we'd watch Disney cartoons. The Disney stuff would be everywhere. Saturday mornings, there was a whole Disney lineup of cartoons and things like that. And our parents felt very, very safe just letting Disney have us for a little while. Disney was a babysitter, and it was like that up until relatively recently. You started seeing some things coming through, but right now, do not trust Disney products. I'm telling you this now. If it was produced after basically 2005, do not trust Disney products. Do not trust your kids with Disney products.
Yeah.
You mentioned back in the day, we're just a few hundred feet here in Union Station from where the Disney store used to be 30-some years ago.
I remember that.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
that was a chain across the country. I don't know if any of those stores exist anymore. I don't think so.
There are a few in
Are
the really big high-end malls and everything because Disney stuff is just so expensive now.
Right.
They're only going to be in the high-end malls, and even then, there's like 1 or 2 per state at this point.
And it was such a fun store to go
used to
into
be.
to visit.
Sure.
You had Eddie Bauer, you had Disney Store, all these other great outlets that were here at Union Station, which obviously those stores are long gone.
Yeah.
But I think back to those days, and wow, Gabe, you're right. It's a totally different ballgame.
I remember you mentioned being the babysitter. I remember we had a VHS tape from Disney, and it was a collection of like the song and dance parts. And I bought it because my daughter, who was real little, loved that, and I could put that in, and then I could go get the housework done. I could clean up the house. I could go work out, be right there while she's in her preschool era. Would sit and just love that and sing along with it and dance to it, and there was no problem at all. And you just cannot leave your kids alone, like you said, with Disney products at this point. Any of the new ones.
Now, I would suggest though, the Disney classics, they still are a thing. Go out and get the physical medium. Do not trust having Disney Plus or whatever as your access to even old Disney stuff. Go out and get the physical, because they can change those.
Oh, and they are.
And they are changing them. They're adding warnings. They're removing things. They're adding things. They want to add context to certain things. And then of course, they're going to advertise their new remakes at the same time as the old classics. They've got a whole slate of remakes now that are out, and they're all kind of trash. But so be careful.
Yeah.
Be very, very careful.
And besides, they announced a big price increase yesterday.
Oh,
for
gosh,
Disney Plus.
For
Disney Plus and
Disney
Hulu.
Plus.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, because they own Hulu as well.
Yeah. And by the way, we're close to where Hard Rock Cafe used to be.
That's right.
I used to eat there quite a bit. Now it's what, the soda fountain over there, where they sell strawberry milkshakes, which Stell still owes me one.
That's right.
But I'm getting yours from Crown Candy.
That works too.
That's
that
right.
works
That's right.
too.
Yeah.
Okay, just ahead here, government says, we're going to protect you from secondhand smoke. We're going to protect your health. We're going to ban smoking unless it might hurt the business. We're going to allow it in one business, but not in all the others.
Huh. Choosing winners or losers.
Imagine that.
Who'da thunk?
Got the update for you right around 7:22 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. It's really a role of government discussion.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
I've had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Columbo and Katie.
The only real reporter left, Peter Doocy, confronted Biden over the alleged family enrichment schemes. We'll speak with Dr. Tobler about this at 3:05 and catch up with Justin Sparks at 2:25.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The county executive chief of staff made his own Pornhub video. A year later, the female involved is suing him and 3 other people civilly, saying that he did not have permission to distribute that tape. Is this person liable?
Man, Chris, you guys have far more salacious political stories.
You didn't know we were so exciting out here in Hillbilly Country, did you, Zach?
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s.
I should have been a cowboy.
Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks.
Let's go, girls.
Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com.
I'll go back.
or enable the Classic Kick skill on Alexa.
I love this station.
90s New Country streaming now.
News commentary.
The company best known for making work from home a thing is telling its own employees to show up at the office. Put on real pants, folks. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Zoom revolutionized the work-from-home era, making it possible for workers around the world to do their jobs from about anywhere with an internet connection. This technology made the pandemic workable for millions, but also helped condition workers into getting comfortable at home and avoiding the office. But now even Zoom is cracking down, saying in a statement to employees that if they live near an office, they need to show up to it at least 2 days a week. And guess what? Good for Zoom. I'm not against remote work, but for some it's become a crutch and an excuse to do less, wearing less, and for too long. Furthermore, how are young people going to learn how to interact in person with other humans if they're given the luxury of simply sitting at a computer all day long? I'm a firm believer in team building, collaboration, and a work environment where our colleagues are forced out of PJs into real clothes. I'm Tommy Lahren.
The Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hello, morning people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Colombo and Katie.
See you then. Okay, a local government tightens up its smoking ban for almost everyone.
Sure.
I'm having a little bit of fun with this. I mean, I think this is government stepping beyond what it should be doing.
Yeah, clearly.
But we're just showing that the rules do not apply to everybody.
Plus the stupidity of no smoking out in a park.
Out in a park, yeah.
It's like masks in a park.
Yeah. It's all to protect your health.
Yes, it's for your health.
All right, we'll get to that here in about 60 seconds here. By the way, let's talk about fighting to preserve Missouri's pro-life status.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Missouri is going to become the next battleground of abortion and pro-life.
Yeah.
And at 7:35, we're having that conversation with our friends from the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America list. Because pro-abortion forces are about to spend a lot of money in the Show Me State trying to get a referendum on the ballot to overturn Missouri's pro-life laws.
They're on the move across the country, and they are spending a ton of money and a ton of time to kind of dismantle every pro-life effort state by state.
And they got a win in Ohio the
Sure
other day.
did.
So what can we learn from that? So we'll do that conversation in about 10 minutes. I'm Mike. That's Gabe. That's Stell. By the way, I've got, Gabe and I have Twitter accounts still.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at AVP Radio Show. You're at John Philosopher. Stell,
Right.
you're not on Twitter, as I understand it.
No X for me.
Good for you. That's probably the smarter way to go here.
He doesn't do drugs.
That's right.
No X.
But I posted, last night, I posted my conversation with Dr. Everett Piper. And speaking of health, where he had an article in the Washington Times that says, how will we react to the next pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
And that's getting a little bit of traction. So if you want to hear that conversation, just look up my Twitter. And if you throw me a follow along the way, I'd greatly appreciate it. Just look up AVP Radio Show, which stands for American Viewpoints, which is my syndicated show. But you can find that right now at the top of my feed. So check that out when you get a chance.
Do the thing.
Okay, so St. Louis County Council tightens up its indoor smoking ban, adds outdoor spaces to the ban,
right?
But makes an exception for one industry that complained that the ban could hurt their business.
Right.
So they got to carve out, whereas nobody else did.
Right, because I mean, all the other businesses that said this could hurt us, they said no, you have to suck it up. But
Right.
These guys, maybe they have a little more pull.
Exactly. So here's where we're at, is the St. Louis County Council had the smoking ban ordinance on their agenda. And I think a lot of people, we are so used to, after the last 15, 20 years, just assuming that the law prevents smoking indoors.
Right.
And for the most part, there's a lot of areas where it does.
Sure.
So let me go back in time to that question because I remember objecting to smoking bans back then. And I don't smoke. I have never smoked.
Right.
I can't stand to be around the smell of smoke. Whether you are smoking or whether you have recently been smoking, I don't like it because that smell follows you.
Right.
It's like Pigpen and the big dust bowl that follows Pigpen.
It's a cloud.
Yeah. And so I don't like it. And if I go into a place that allows smoking, I'm probably going to turn around and leave just because I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's the free market.
That's how that works.
I think that's sufficient.
That's how it's supposed to work,
Right.
we'll say.
So this was before the board or the council, the county council. And they voted to kind of tighten up their smoking ban to where it covers all businesses and indoor spaces, so libraries, churches, whatever else. You may have been surprised to know that there were some businesses that still allowed smoking. I mentioned a pub in Maplewood, an Irish pub, that I was at a year or so ago, and I was surprised that they still allowed smoking. Cool vibe in the place, but I didn't go back because I just don't care to be around the smoke.
Sure.
But everybody in there was a grown-up. Everybody in there could make their own decision as to whether they wanted to be there. So they extended the smoking ban to all indoor and outdoor recreation facilities, which means that if it's a county park and you decide to go walk on the trail, you can't light up a cigarette or a cigar and walk by yourself outdoors because that's banned now.
Yeah, because it's for the health of the people nearby, Mike. Because even though it's almost impossible to catch secondhand smoke, in a park with these people, you have to protect the health of all the individuals who have access to that park. That's the argument that the government was making.
You
right?
don't want to give the geese cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the geese count. All the little birdies and the snakes and the squirrels, all the cute little fuzzy animals, especially. You don't want to give them cancer from secondhand smoke. Now, of course, that doesn't quite extend to certain businesses.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing: is that the casinos pushed back and were complaining, saying, "Hey, this is going to hurt our business." And so they gave a carve out only to casinos
exclusively.
Now, casinos still have to make they have to make at least 50% of their gaming floor non-smoking.
Right.
So you have a smoking section and a non-smoking section, kind of the way restaurants used to be.
Yes.
But
not partitioned necessarily.
Oh, I don't know how they're but up to half of the casino floor can be a smoking. So that's the only business that's now allowed to still have smoking because
indoors.
Yeah, indoors because they said, "Hey, this is going to hurt our business." Well, it's probably going to hurt the business of bars.
Yeah.
It might hurt the business of some restaurants. It might hurt the business of, some other things, but they don't have the same carve out.
I'm sure they argued the same in the town hall meetings or whatever that they, businesses came up and testified and say, "Hey, this is going to cut into our revenues." And the government said, "Yeah, we don't care." But the casinos did the same and a little different outcome there.
Yeah, so it's a role of government and them picking and choosing on this.
Yeah.
So, all right, just ahead here, Missouri is a pro-life state.
Yes.
Once the Dobbs decision was handed down, Missouri law says we do not want abortions in this state.
Kicked in immediately.
And it went in immediately. We may have been the first pro-life state after the Dobbs decision, and the pro-abortion forces really want to overturn that. And there's a lot of legal wrangling that's going on regarding Missouri's laws. They want to put a referendum on the ballot. There's a lot of foot dragging and conflict over that. So we'll talk about keeping Missouri a pro-life state and also look at the lessons that can be taken from the state of Ohio, where the pro-abortion forces frankly got a victory this week. Now, whether they get the final victory in Ohio remains to be seen. But what can we learn there that we can apply to Missouri? Illinois friends, hey, we're not getting anywhere anytime soon
Sorry,
on the
guys.
Illinois side.
Yeah.
But on Missouri, we still have a chance to preserve our status as a pro-life state. We're going to talk to our friends from the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life List just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A dense fog advisory in effect until 9 a.m. The fog is thick in spots. Be careful out there, folks. Give yourself plenty of distance between you and the vehicles around you. The fog should lift quickly mid-morning, making way for partly cloudy and eventually mostly sunny skies. A high of 87 this afternoon. Mostly clear tonight, down to about 70. Partly cloudy and warmer Friday, a high of 93. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
I want to share something special with you. I've told you how Wellington Environmental works to keep hospitals, schools, businesses safe for their patients, students, clients, employees. Wellington can do the same for you. Perfect example. A relative went to the basement, almost knocked over by the smell. A sewer line had broken. A call to Wellington, a crew was dispatched. First thing, make the home safe. Then clean up the mess. Truly clean it up. Now, I'm telling you this because I want the best for you. Wellington Environmental. Here's the number, 314-644-4930. 644-4930. AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. 644-4930. Wellington Environmental. Your world. Cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Everybody has a right to have their opinion and voice their opinion.
Live and local.
I always approach it from this standpoint. Leftist malfeasance is presupposed.
This is News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Tune in to us at 8 p.m. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
All right, pro-life efforts may have been dealt a setback in Ohio. The full extent of that remains to be seen. But what can Missouri learn from what happened there, if anything? Mm-hmm. Also, let's put this back in the spotlight here. The pro-abortion movement really has Missouri in its crosshairs.
Yes. We're a number one target.
I think if not one, we're in the top 5 without a doubt, but probably number 1. They have convinced themselves that Missouri is not actually a conservative state.
Yes. They got to get their purple inroads somehow.
Right.
And they think abortion is the way to do it.
All right. The big question. We'll talk about this at 7:50 about the first presidential debate. Will Donald Trump show up, or should he show up? Getting a lot of comments on that on Rumble, but I want to know what you think. So get ready to tell me whether you think Donald Trump should debate on August 23rd. Let's talk about that right around 7:50. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. Joined now by Sue Liebel. She is with the Susan B. Anthony list. Pro-Life America, pro-life list. Sue, appreciate you being on the program here. So let me kind of set the stage. One, in Missouri, we are aware that pro-abortion movement and pro-abortion activists want to put a referendum on the ballot that would essentially overturn Missouri's pro-life laws. There's a lot of back and forth and legal wrangling that's going on over that. But it looks like what they want to do, Sue, in Missouri is what they want to do across the country is make the abortion access really beyond radical, I think, to the common sense person in this country. What's your assessment?
Hi, good morning. I think you're exactly right. You've just hit it right on the nose. The radical abortion lobby's playbook after the Dobbs decision, after Roe versus Wade went down, is very clear. And you were mentioning the They're going after the red states or the purple. Groups like the ACLU and Planned Parenthood are flooding states like Missouri, Ohio, with millions of dollars. They have an unlimited supply to confuse and deceive people. They want to enshrine brutal late-term abortion on demand in constitutions. They know they can't, in these states, including now Ohio, Missouri, of course, Florida, Arizona, they just filed this week. They know they can't get their way in the legislatures. They're elected by the people closest to the people. People elect pro-life legislators, and Missouri has a lot of pro-life and family values, et cetera, conservative types of policies. They can't get their way, so they're going around that to try to enshrine these super liberal, woke things in the Constitution and destroy the rights of parents. I want to add that too. It's not even just abortion. It's trans surgery and trans drugs and stuff like that. It's incredible. And they're doing whatever it takes to protect their profit margin. So it's really important the voters understand what's at stake. ACLU is waging a war on women and children and parents, and we're committed to working with Missouri pro-life leaders to expose this extreme agenda.
Good morning, Sue. Gabe here. And one of the things that I've noticed, too, is that these referendums around the country, they seem to have very low thresholds for getting them passed, right? So, the 50% plus one threshold is crucial to their ability to do this, because you can kind of buy essentially a change to a state's constitution with the threshold being so low and the off election time being having such low turnout. So tell us why changing those laws is kind of crucial to this whole deal.
Well, I think those laws have been around for a long time, and we thought that was adequate. But in fact, nobody knows this better than Missouri. When it's so easy to change the Constitution, they'll try to change it for lots of things. You guys have probably more ballot questions than most other states. So, but now with the woke agenda and the way they're using it as a new tool in their toolbox to get around elected leaders. And by the way, in Ohio Tuesday, the people voted to keep it low, but really what they were doing, and I'm not sure if they understood the implications down the road. The long game is that ultimately when there are lawsuits and things, that'll go to unelected judges. So sooner or later, what we're doing when we keep those thresholds low is ensuring it's going to go to the courts, as opposed to having our legislature, our governors, those that we elect on a regular basis that are closest to the people to make those decisions. And that is important. And I think it's a new day. I think it's a new day. The woke agenda is trying to elbow its way in a new way, and we can't let that happen.
We are visiting with Sue Liebel from Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America. Let me follow up, because on the Ohio, even though the vote was whether or not to raise the standard to change the Constitution, that's officially what was on the vote. The issue of abortion was really the driving factor in this election. That was the coverage, because there are abortion-related constitutional amendments in the works there, like there are in Missouri as well. One of the arguments that we're hearing, and I'm sure you're hearing all the time, Sue, is, well, in a democracy, the majority wins. If you want to win, then just make your case and win the election. Don't try to change the threshold to keep your laws on the books or to change the law. What's the right argument back when people who are listening to us right now hear that complaint from their liberal or even their moderate friends and saying, well, if you don't like it, then just convince more people to vote your way?
Well, I think there's a real difference between changing your Constitution and changing laws. And that maybe we all need to go back to our civics classes. I know sometimes I do, what the difference there is. But it needs to be, we need to make it harder to change our Constitution. That is a founding guiding document. Our legislature is closest to the people, elected on a regular cycle. as well as state, governors and state representatives. So I think that's the difference. But that's also if you are the dark money folks that flooded Ohio, the ACLU trying to get their extreme agenda passed, go right for the Constitution because it's more solid. It's harder, it's harder to access, and it'll keep your agenda for much longer. So we really want to keep that out of their hands if possible. But I want to make a different point, if I may, that this is not just about abortion. I mean, this would be about marijuana or crime, preventing foreign countries like China from being able to amend, like in Missouri, to buy up your farmland or purchase property. That's what initiative petition reform is all about. Unfortunately, in Ohio, some sat on the sidelines, but the silence of the establishment and the business community, leaving it to be, well, that's an abortion issue, we're going to stay away from it. It's the third rail. Unfortunately, we're all in this together. So this is not just about abortion. It's business issues, it's crime, it's property rights. This is why everyone must take this threat seriously and recognize that progressives will win if we are scared into submission. And so some sat on the sidelines, the business community and others in the more mainstream, shall we say. So as long as even Republicans and their supporters take the strategy of staying away from that, they're going to lose again and again and again. There are a lot of sectors at risk here. There are a lot of issues at risk here, including, of course, the war on women and children and the unborn, which is what is the original intent of these ballot measures. But make no mistake, there are going to be plenty of other issues that are going to fall into those ballots, and we all have a stake here.
Good morning, Sue. Stel Ponticus here. You kind of touched on something that I was interested to get your perspective on right there, because it's evident that the Democrats are pouring tons of money into these states where these referendums are on the ballots. Are we seeing anything close to that from the Republican side to support these referendums?
As far as I'm aware, Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America, is a national organization that has access to some resources. We've put in several $1 million, almost $20 million into Ohio. These ballot initiatives are different than what we're used to. And again, I'm saying this to people in Missouri. You've had ballot questions for a long time. But anymore, in this day and age, these are somewhere between $30 and $50 million fights. This is like a presidential race or something that large. This is a very costly thing. And like we said, the dark money rolls in. There was a Swiss billionaire that sent money into Ohio. I mean, we're really up against the dark forces of that. The Republicans, the business community, the mainstream, I don't know, you name it, Farm Bureau, we're all going to be caught up in this. And we need to understand that we need to stay together. Because if the Republicans are afraid of the abortion issue, but by the way, we know in campaigns, for example, that running for Senate or running for House or governor, that actually approaching the life issue, talking about our stance, and then pivoting to say, if you want to see extreme, look at my opponent or look at this ballot measure. That's what's extreme. If we can approach it like that, last November, all of the candidates that did that at the state level won. So the narrative that, unfortunately, in the Republican Party and others, the narrative that abortion is a losing issue is exactly wrong. And when we embrace it and pivot to show the extreme agenda of the progressive left, we start winning. And I'm afraid we're all going to have to learn that lesson together. And I would, we will make it our business to talk to the Republican Party, fellow organizations in the state, that we'll all get on board with this, because we're all going to go in this together.
All right, Sue Liebel from Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America. I've just got a minute or so left. Regarding the Missouri situation here, there's a lot of legal wrangling. I think some of it's very strategic, trying to limit the amount of time that signatures can be gathered. So there's a lot of strategy. But what's your understanding of what we need to know about this referendum that we could be asked to sign for, which we've been warning people, don't sign it, don't sign it. Who knows how they're going to describe it? It'll probably be dishonest. But what's the status of the referendum fight as you know right now?
Well, you have to remember that they filed 11 different petitions. So that is a complicated and time-consuming process. But it will, in time, get whittled down to one that goes on the ballot. And what we need to be aware is that they would eliminate the state Missouri's protections for unborn life. Unborn children are under attack in Missouri. Parental rights will be under attack, like I mentioned, not just for abortion, but for transgender types of issues. Parents won't know about that. Women's health, taking away medical oversight so that anyone can do an abortion, or there are no health and safety measures. Each measure may be looking a little different, but each one ends lives and puts women at risk, and of course, unborn children. Even the ones that appear mild are meant to deceive the voter to transfer Missouri into an abortion-on-demand state. So we're still analyzing all those proposals, but I think the thing to remember is that they are deceitful. Anything that we're going to see from their side on television or radio or whatnot is going to be deceitful and is going to bleed over into other issues of freedom and parental choice and the family values, the values that Missourians have. So don't be deceived would be my first suggestion. And when we do get that final question and we see what Missouri is going to have on its ballot, we need to be consistent in our message. Republicans, the Farm Bureau, the Chamber, the whatever groups, including the pro-life groups, but parental rights groups, you name it, school board groups, we've got to be very consistent in our messaging. We've got to be clear so that people know what they're voting for and what they're not voting for. Okay, Sue, and how do people get in touch with Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America? What's the best way? Oh, sure. Our website is sbaprolife.org. All right, Sue Liebel from Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America. Thanks so much for the conversation.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, just ahead here, we are less than 2 weeks away from the first Republican presidential debate. Still don't know what Donald Trump's going to do. Should he show up?
That's a big question.
That's a big question. What do you think? Let's talk about it. 314-912-1019. He says he may not show up. He appears to be leaning against showing up. Should he? Let's talk about it right around 7:52 here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and SouthernArmory.com. That's SouthernArmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at SouthernArmory.com.
Oh, Hank, what a wonderful spider web you have built for us. I love this fabulous space we have right here in the corner of the kitchen.
Thanks, Charlotte. I think I'll build us a vacation web in the coat closet. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Hey, it's Vic, and I'm here with Kathy Connor at Connor Roofing. Kathy,
What makes Connor Roofing different?
Hey, Vic. I'm glad that you asked. I think that what really sets Connor Roofing apart is our relationship with our customers. It's very important to us to develop that trust with the homeowner. This is what has allowed us to serve our friends and our neighbors in the St. Louis area for 30 years. Whether we are doing a roof or a gutter repair or even a full replacement, you can count on Connor for quality service and workmanship.
Thanks, Kathy. To find out more, visit them at connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
That's what happens if you're a Republican and you're accused of lying to the FBI.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
What does the FBI do? The FBI lies to Congress. The Attorney General lies to Congress. The Director of Homeland Security lies to Congress. And then what happens? Nothing happens.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
Because as we all know now, the FBI, the DOJ have become nothing more than the enforcement arm of the leftist government.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, I'm just going to say right up front, a little bit shorter of a segment here. So if you want to get your thoughts in on the whether Donald Trump should debate or not, call me now.
Yeah.
314-912-1019. By the way, just about 10 minutes from right now, State Senator Nick Schroer, also the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday evening here on News Talk STL, going to be with us. Now we've got one city and now one county looking at passing gun control laws in a state that says it's constitutional carry. That's the state law.
Right.
So how are they getting away with it? And will the state legislature do anything about it? So we'll talk to Nick about that just ahead. I'm Mike. Got Gabe here. Got Stell here. It's 7:54. Okay, the first debate, Republican presidential debate, is scheduled for less than 2 weeks from today. Donald Trump still not saying whether or not he's going to be there to debate his top opponents.
Seems to be leaning against.
That's what it looks like. He's ridiculed it. He's kind of making fun of it, making fun of his opponents, basically saying it's beneath me.
Right.
Is what he's saying. So question is, should he debate? Does he owe it to the voters to face off with his opponent? Senator Tim Scott was asked about that on Fox and Friends.
The American people deserve to see every single one of us that qualifies for the debate stage on that stage talking about our vision for America and how our presidency would change the tide away from this terrible, disastrous presidency of President Biden.
Gabe?
And one of the things I've noticed is that we kind of coming at this from two different standpoints. One is the Trump campaign standpoint, which is, okay, does it make sense for him to do it? And then there's the voter standpoint, which, the one I'm advocating for, where it's like, well, I want to hear from everybody. Now, and I think those answers are different depending on what perspective you're approaching the question.
Yeah, because if you're a campaign strategist for Trump,
you say don't do it.
You got nothing to gain and everything to lose.
Right.
But from the voters' perspective, you want to see the candidates challenge each other.
Generally speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? So should he show up and debate?
I think he should.
I think he should. Stell, what do you think?
I don't think he should.
Okay.
Well, one of the rare times I disagree with Gabe.
Almost never happens on this show.
That's true, but this is one of them, so I'm marking the time down here, the date. Because I think, especially as a former president, we know where he stands. And for those who are following along at home over all these months, I think we know where he stands on the issues. And if he wants to say, no, I don't want to be a part of this one, all right, fine. I would love to see him on the stage with them, but if he says he disagrees and he doesn't want to be there, I'm okay with it because he looks at the RNC, as I mentioned before, as the Rhino National Committee, and he doesn't really want to have anything to do with them.
And the RNC is a joke.
Yeah.
On that, I completely agree.
we all agree.
As far as this debate, because they want to be the monopoly, kingmaker of the debate, and I can't stand the way they're doing this. But for the debate, I look at it more from the voters' perspective. I understand strategically why he may not want to do it. He may show up, who knows?
Sure.
But I understand why he may not want to do it from a strategic perspective. I think he owes it to the voters to show up and be challenged by his other opponents and challenge them as well. And I think it's a disservice to the voters in the Republican caucuses and primaries if he does not show up. He should show up. Does that mean will he show up? I doubt it. Got some different thoughts on it? Let me know on the Rumble chat box or comment on our Facebook page.
They drafted a vague agreement so Hunter could walk away saying he understood that the case was closed.
The Department of Justice was acting like a co-conspirator.
It was a political exercise.
The famous WhatsApp message. The AUSA did not allow them to get the location data.
What happens next?
An average American would be serving jail time. He wasn't charged with one felony.
Happens right here.
And just because your last name's Biden, you shouldn't be treated differently.
This is News Talk STL.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality, Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. Our primary goal is to advance Christian education so that families and culture flourish. The legacy of Stan's business career centers around making national transit ecosystems accessible and sustainable. Likewise, the legacy of Stan's philanthropy centers around making the ecosystems of Christian education more accessible and sustainable for families across the nation. Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more about our programs, including trainings, scholarships, conferences, news, and our podcast, Making the Leap.
Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more and sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. HerzogFoundation.com.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomas. Inflation is heating up again. The government reports consumer prices rose 3.2% last month compared to a year ago. That was up from a 3% annual increase in June. Rising energy prices led the way higher last month. They've called out the National Guard on the fire-ravaged island of Maui. The Hawaiian wildfires have claimed at least 36 lives and have destroyed treasured historic sites in Lahaina town, which dates to the 1700s.
It's a very, very sad day in Hawaii. It's devastating, and I know many families on Maui are struggling right now, as well as many family members across the state. So we want to send our heartfelt aloha to them and our prayers to them.
James Tokioka with the Hawaiian Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism. The fast-moving fires chased thousands of people from their homes. America's biggest sanctuary city, a magnet for new arrivals, sending out another SOS to the White House.
With thousands of migrants still arriving in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams is renewing his appeal to the federal government to help the city avert a budgetary crisis as expenses grow bigger and bigger. The city is now projecting costs to exceed $12 billion by the end of next year to help care for and temporarily house people coming from the southern U.S. border. Even as the number of people crossing the southern border has fallen, thousands of migrants continue to head to New York City. With the city's shelters near capacity and more migrants arriving, the crisis is unlikely to abate anytime soon. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A leading anti-cartel, anti-corruption crusader running for president in Ecuador, shot and killed at a campaign rally north of the capital, Quito. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 173, S&P futures ahead 26 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Negotiations between the
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A dense fog advisory in effect until 9 a.m. The fog is thick in spots. Be careful out there, folks. Give yourself plenty of distance between you and the vehicles around you. The fog should lift quickly mid-morning, making way for partly cloudy and eventually mostly sunny skies. A high of 87 this afternoon. Mostly clear tonight, down to about 70. Partly cloudy and warmer Friday, a high of 93. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Mark McCloskey here, and my friend Mike Lindell and his team at MyPillow are having a big sale to celebrate their 20th anniversary and the sale of over 80 million pillows. Mike and his team want to thank everyone by giving you the lowest price in their history. The MyPillow queen-size pillows that are regularly $69.98 are now just $19.98, and for just $10 more, you get a king size. MyPillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs to help you get the best sleep ever. Patty and I have slept on MyPillows for a long time, and we just got our new 2.0 pillows and a set of Giza Dream Sheets, and we love them. Go to MyPillow.com to get queen-size MyPillows for only $19.98 or call 800-645-1392 and use the promo code ONFIRE. In addition to this special anniversary offer on the MyPillows, you will also receive deep discounts on all MyPillow products. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-645-1392 and use the promo code ONFIRE to unlock these savings.
Mike Ferguson.
I'm the world's heavyweight wrestling champion.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I'm Batman.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
I want to be clear, I'm not going nuts.
No.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Should we have another state legislature versus local government showdown in 2024?
Oh.
In Missouri?
Why not?
I'm up for it.
Let's go.
I'm here for it, man. All right, 8:05 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Stel Ponticus here. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here.
You mean, do we want to stand and fight? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Precisely.
Yes, that's the case. All right, so we've been kind of keeping an eye on this because I am a big believer in early and often tell you about some of the freedom infringing things that are in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis City, we told you about, hey, they submitted a bill that is a citywide gun control bill, and they passed it.
Yeah.
And it's unconstitutional. And if I feel like I need to protect myself coming to downtown St. Louis at 3 o'clock in the morning to work my shift, if I feel like I need to disobey that law, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got one county councilwoman in St. Louis County saying that city gun control law sounds like a pretty darn good idea to me. I'm going to work up something like that by consulting the author of the city gun control bill and propose that in the county where the county government has a majority of Democrats on the county council. So there is a high likelihood, and we talked to Mark Harder about this yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
there's a high likelihood that the Democratic-controlled St. Louis County Council will also pass a gun control law.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. Missouri is a constitutional carry state. So how is this possible? Now, if you remember last week, we spoke with Aaron Dorr from the American Firearms Association, and he says, yes, but there's a loophole carve-out that was in that constitutional carry law that allows local governments to do some gun control. And you may say, but Mike, the Second Amendment says what it says. And I would say, yeah, you're right. That's the whole
Well,
thing.
yeah, that's the whole thing.
State Senator Nick Schroer joins us right now. Nick, let me start off with do you agree or disagree with Aaron's assessment that the state constitutional carry law actually has that carve out or maybe loophole, however you want to say it, that allows local governments to pursue some gun control in their areas, even though Missouri is a constitutional carry state?
Well, I do see that there is some, I wouldn't call it a loophole, but I would say some ability for local governments to legislate in a way that they deem meets what we did, what the legislature did before I was there on constitutional carry. But yeah, I think, what you said previously, this is blanketly unconstitutional. I don't know how you're going to allow constitutional carry to be the law of the land when you have all of these little fiefdoms superseding what the state has done, what the U.S. Constitution has done. So I think this is going to be set up for next session. We're going to deal with it once again in the Missouri Senate and the Missouri House. I've talked to several members that have said, look, yes, we do have a problem with these minors getting firearms, using these stolen firearms, and going into areas like St. Louis County, St. Charles County. I was just on a task force the other night where we were discussing this, but this is not the solution. The other solution that could be done is saturating the streets with police to deter these criminals from using these guns in a illegal fashion.
Good morning, Nick. Gabe here. So it sounds like the main thrust is going to be legislative action as opposed to court action, which seems to be what the Democrats seem want to fight about.
Yeah, I think you might see both. I think since we are out of session, I don't think the governor is going to call a special session on anything. And quite frankly, I think he's checked out from the time when he vetoed a bunch of good legislation dealing with law enforcement, whether it was in my community in St. Louis County, St. Louis City. I think the governor's checked out, and he's not going to call a special session, whether it's on the toxic waste that's in St. Louis County and St. Charles County that we've been dealing with, that Josh Hawley has passed an amendment regarding, or if it's dealing with this and unconstitutional pieces of legislation by St. Louis City and St. Louis County. That's not going to get the governor off at his farm to call a special session to bring us back in. So we're going to have to wait until next January to at least address this. But I do think in the interim, you may see some individuals that are going to file lawsuits with our judicial system in the state of Missouri. I don't know how long that's going to take. So we could see a showdown right at the same time. If there's a case filed today, it could reach the appellate court or the Supreme Court by the same time that a piece of legislation is hitting the floor of the Missouri Senate.
Is there an appetite in the legislature, in your opinion, Nick, to go ahead and close up this carve out and just say, no, Missouri is a constitutional carry state, end of story, and no local laws can supersede that?
Yeah, I think there's a massive appetite, and it all hinges upon crime. There was a appetite last year or this past session when I was trying to take back state control of the St. Louis City Police, seeing that the retention, the recruitment is in the toilet. Crime continues to spread. Crime continues to get worse, and the local officials don't want to do a darn thing. So this was part of a package that we were trying to move forward, dealing with allowing the police to address this and question these juveniles who have these guns, because that's what the local officials are saying. This gets down to the nitty gritty of addressing these juveniles with these firearms, but this is not the right way to address it. So yeah, we're definitely going to take this up. And a couple other things. There was a huge case that just dropped yesterday in the Fifth Circuit out of Mississippi, dealing with what the Biden administration has wanted to do, and that's restrict your gun rights if you have any sort of link to marijuana. And in this case, in Mississippi, it was actually overturned, but in this case in Mississippi, gentleman was pulled over for expired plates. He had marijuana remnants in his ashtray. He was not under the influence, but he also had guns locked away in his car. They arrested him, charged him. He got convicted for 4 years in prison. I think it was 3 years probation ultimately, but 4 years in prison for not being under the influence, but just admitting that out of the month, 14 days, he probably smokes marijuana, has never gotten in trouble, has never been violent, but they convicted him and said that you cannot be a marijuana user and own guns at the same time. The court struck that down and said, no, with this defendant, that is a clear unconstitutional restriction on his Second Amendment rights. So, I think we're going to see gun legislation dealing with that issue now that Missouri has recreational marijuana, legalized marijuana, and with this issue stemming out of St. Louis City.
Okay, now real quick follow-up to that, Nick. What about the leadership? We know how that can be a roadblock.
Leadership?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the problem. So there can be great legislation, but can this get past the Republicans in the leadership to actually get the good stuff done?
You know, I'm a little bit hopeful for two reasons. One, it's an election year, and we've got a bunch of people, including the Speaker of the House and many senators, running for statewide office, whether it's Secretary of State, governor, and so on and so forth. There are some rumors out there that there may be some shakeups with congressional seats, and certain members of the Senate might run for Congress as well. But the second thing is you've got a very strong conservative delegation in the Senate that sat back. They got rid of the conservative caucus and dissolved it to absorb back into the Republican Party. But we were all isolated and put on an island this year. So that's where I think we're going to see a stronger conservative delegation looking at the governor's priorities that, he pushed forth all of these Democrat priorities in his budget this year and vetoed all of the good, strong conservative pieces in the budget. So we're going to see a very vocal, very strong, and very ticked off conservative delegation that is going to stand and fight, not only every Sunday at 8 to 10 p.m. here on News Talk STL, but we're going to stand and fight in a bigger fashion this year in the Missouri Senate.
Good morning to the bearded wonder.
Good morning.
Hey, Nick, it's Stell here. I got to ask you this question. Are we going to see any movement on the issues surrounding Coldwater Creek and the remnants of the Manhattan Project in St. Louis County?
Yeah, 100%. I was on a call yesterday with Representative Trish Burns, Representative Richard West, and the EPA. And I will tell you, while I was hopeful after Trish Burns sent a letter asking for a meeting, there was a quick turnaround. And the EPA got together. We jumped on a Zoom call, but they really didn't give us any information, despite the fact that we have public records dating back to, the 60s and 70s related to the federal government knowing that they were putting this toxic waste, this cancer-causing waste, this life-ending waste in our backyards. It's been getting into the creeks, and we know this, in Coldwater Creek, Westlake Landfill, Florissant, Missouri. Every time it floods, it's in our parks, it's in our backyards, it's in our basements. But now we're seeing new records coming out showing that in Weldon Spring in St. Charles County, where all of this growth is, it's seeped from two different ponds in August Bush Wildlife into Darden Creek, into all these other surrounding areas. So we're going to see a lot of movement on that. I know Trish Burns came into the legislature last year, took the leadership role of trying to address this. This is something that Mark Mathieson, who's still in the legislature, has been trying to address. But the legislature really didn't take it seriously. I think now that we have 15,000 documents that are linking this toxic waste to the federal government, Josh Hawley passed an amendment, which I think is going to be taken up here in the House within the next couple of weeks. This is an issue that is going to be on the forefront of everybody's top priority list come this next session.
Okay, we're a little heavy on the segment, but you mentioned the guy getting pulled over for expired tags, and that reminded me in Culverton Park and in Jennings here, we've got cities that are going on to people's private property, pulling their cars out, towing them off because they have expired tags, saying that it's legal for them to do so because state law doesn't address it. Seems like grand theft auto just with a city placard to me, but I know that Representative Brad Christa said he's going to look into this and maybe look at some legislation. We shouldn't have to tell local government you can't steal cars, but is there possibly an appetite to have another set of issues dealing with local government running amok like we're seeing in St. Louis County right now?
100%. You've got these little fiefdoms that are using this as a way to generate revenue. They're violating our personal property rights, coming onto our personal property to take what they believe is theirs, and that's why we have to get rid of personal property tax. This is ridiculous. I think the expired plates, everybody should be playing by the same rules. You shouldn't be driving around with the temp tags from 2020, but the government should not have the ability to come on your private property and take your car and everything that's within it. So that's going to be another issue that myself, Representative Brad Christ, who is on the winning team for Missouri as we beat Illinois in Busch Stadium this week, we are going to be addressing that as well.
All right, State Senator Nick Schroer, give out the website again real quick. We've already tagged you on our social media so people can get in touch.
Go to nickschroer.com. It'll link you to X, I guess that's what we're calling it. It's not Twitter. Facebook, everything, nickschroer.com, or check me out every Sunday night, 8 to 10 p.m. as I stand and fight. If you miss it, go to the live streams, go to News Talk STL or Rumble, where you can check out any of the past shows.
All right, Nick, appreciate you being on again. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Have a great week. God bless you all.
All right, 314-912-1019 to get your thoughts in on this. Let's just do a little bit of wrap-up with some of the news that's happening, and then after that, right around 8:35, the House of Mouse, Disney.
Mm-hmm.
They are back to being groomers.
So gross.
I know that somebody's like, man, Mike, that's harsh. Okay, it's harsh.
Well, you have audio to support the harshness.
But it's true.
Yeah.
So parents, think twice before you're having Disney in your house. And I hate to say that, and the fact that we live in a time where you got to say, ooh, protect your kids from Disney. The audio is creepy. I'll play it for you at 8:35 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9 94.1 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
For your home can be intimidating and a little scary. But that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Let's cut a deal at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Save up to $5,000 on a select John Deere compact tractor package with our exclusive 10-year warranty. And to make things better, we're offering 0% financing for 60 months with 0 down. Get your John Deere equipment by shopping online or visiting us at any of our 28 locations. Let's cut a deal now at Seidenstricker Nobe, snpartners.com.
Offer valid through 9/30/2023. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
In a world where heroes walk among us shines the David Dorn Foundation. Named after a true hero, our foundation empowers those who risk their lives to protect us every day. We stand tall with unwavering dedication to provide our first responders with equipment often not supplied.
But we can't do it alone. We need your generosity of a few volunteer hours to provide our first responders with the tools they desperately need to save lives and keep our communities safe. Visit DornFoundation.com now to be part of our critical progress.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
We check the chat box for a couple minutes. Let's do that. Anyway, Kamala wasn't a diversity hire. She was a Sealy Posturepedic hire.
Stop.
That's what she said. I'm just reading.
Maybe she worked at a mattress store.
This is all I'm doing. I'm just relaying the information. She's just asking what in the Willie Brown is going on. We're back in 5.
Vic Porcelli, live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
For our first Stupid Human Trick, Todd Showalter will attempt to tell us what's on The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter this Saturday night at 5.
It's your buddy Todd Showalter at The Right Mind Show. This Saturday, we'll be talking about how we can make the Republican Party more effective in Jefferson City with former Congresswoman Jean Evans. And also my buddy from the UK, who's also a cartoonist, will be on to discuss just how crazy they think we are over here. On The Right Mind Show, Saturday at 5, here on News Talk STL.
live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Maybe, just maybe, inviting hundreds of teenagers to hang out late at night downtown St. Louis was not a good idea?
Yeah, don't. More than 3 teenagers in one place makes me nervous.
It's 8:22 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. So here's what's going on. A lot of residents, some businesses, some advocacy groups for downtown St. Louis spoke out last night, or yesterday, I should say, at a town hall meeting put on by a couple of the alder critters. They are frustrated with a city-sponsored youth party. There's a series of these the City Hall is trying to, or they are putting together, called the Downtown Youth Zone.
Oh, boy.
And so what they're doing is saying, hey, kids, why don't you all come downtown on Saturday night and we're going to have a party so that you're all here downtown at night.
To be safe.
So that you don't go somewhere else and do something.
To cause trouble, yeah.
It's basically the updated version of Midnight Basketball.
Right, exactly.
You know, so
the idea that you're going to, occupy the idle hand so they don't do something
right.
bad.
Yeah, so let's have a dance party instead or something.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people at the time, Gabe, that were like, hey, can we rethink this here?
Yeah.
We're trying to get them out of downtown late at night.
Right. Yeah,
including us. We said
Yeah.
maybe you guys need to rethink it because one of the issues that we had was what are the kids going to do after the event's over at around midnight or 1 a.m.?
Mhm.
You think they're all going to go home?
Yeah.
I'm thinking no.
Yeah, these things tend to work out badly just because, once you gather all the kids together, basically you're asking for the same sort of riotous behavior to happen just at a different time, different place, different context, but it's basically the same thing. You've just sponsored it now.
You become an incubator for whatever happens
Yeah.
afterwards. And that's what happened is about 300 kids, according to some of the reports, they hung around until about 3 in the morning. Downtown St. Louis.
Oh man, teenagers at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
In large groups. Like I said, if I come across a group of like 3-4 teenagers and they're all together, I'm just like something bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
Because I remember being a teenager and I remember what happens if I'm with 3 or 4 of my friends. You know what I mean? Is it like, especially guys? I'll say it this way: there's something I used to call it testosterone madness because teenagers, they're getting flooded with testosterone, but they don't know what to do with it yet because they haven't matured into it. So you get a whole bunch of them together, and their testosterone is bouncing off of each other, and they just turn into these wild animals, essentially roaming the streets in packs.
Because gals would just be together chatting and,
yeah.
having a good little time at somebody's house.
Yeah, you get a gaggle of girls together, they're just going to giggle. Gaggle of girls, giggle. Yeah, you see what I did there. But you get a whole bunch of guys.
And the herd of boys are looking for the gaggle of girls.
Exactly. And if they don't find them, then there's trouble.
Jeez. All right, so a few hundred of them, and so whether or not they're going to continue these remains to be seen. The summer's almost over.
Don't do it.
Anyway, but just a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay, the House Oversight Committee says newly obtained bank records appear to show that Hunter Biden and his various business associates received millions of dollars in payments from Russia and Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan's a new one that I hadn't heard
Kazakhstan.
Before. Yeah, oligarchs from those two countries while Joe Biden was vice president.
Huh.
Congressman Byron Donalds from Florida was on America Reports on Fox, and he says that he thinks that Joe Biden was involved in the business deals.
The White House says Joe Biden never got a dime. I don't believe it. And at the end of the day, if Hunter Biden was spending money for his dad on behalf of his dad doesn't have to take a dime. That's facilitating a bribe from the president of the United States through his son.
Yeah, but on the counter side, the White House says, didn't.
I mean, there is that.
Yeah.
That defense is solid, I guess.
So that ends the discussion for the media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Isn't there a law, and I'm trying to remember, I think it's like something like the foreign... There are laws, there are federal laws that that govern your behavior when dealing with foreign nations in a business manner, and accepting gifts.
You have to be registered.
Well, first of all, you have to register
FARA?
as a foreign agent.
Yes.
First of all, in order to be able to do international business. Second, you also are regulated in what sort of gifts you can accept from agents of foreign governments or foreign businesses, and that extends to your extended family as well. I've had to go through some of these kind of trainings, and I always forget whether or not it's just my company's training or it's a derivative of a federal law that they're trying to teach. But accepting gifts of any sort, like above like $100, will get you into serious trouble. So the idea that he's receiving these millions of dollars, in what are essentially gifts, because there's no work involved in receiving that money,
or even sweetheart contracts,
or even contracts. Yeah, the contracts.
There's
That's even more so.
There's an
regulated.
awful lot of quote unquote consulting jobs that are just gifts.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how you hide those. All of that stuff is regulated, and like I said, it extends to family members of people in official capacities. So I'm curious whether or not there is a federal law that would regulate how the children or close relations of government officials like a vice president would be limited in what sort of money they can get from foreign agents.
Okay, locally closer to home here, lesser known bill before the county council last week. St. Louis County officials made it illegal to smoke outdoors in county parks.
Right. Yeah, you can't light up outdoors. I mean, that smoke will just go everywhere.
While you're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
You have to smoke through the mask.
Yeah.
So the smoking ban also covers indoor facilities and businesses and nonprofits, basically any place of employment.
Sure.
Basically every business or public space except casinos. They are specifically exempted. There's a carve out for them that says they can allow smoking in up to half of their gaming floors, which last I checked were indoors.
This is so wild.
Nobody else has that same carve out.
That's so wild.
So the restaurant doesn't get to say, or the bar doesn't get to say, okay, you can have up to 50% smoking. But the casinos complained and said, hey, we're going to lose money. And the county council and the county government's like, well, okay. We'll give you an exemption to the law that everybody else has to abide by.
Now, obviously, this is governments going beyond their purview, beyond what they should be capable of doing. I don't believe in government smoking bans to begin with.
I agree.
But even beyond that, is this more than just going beyond their bounds and doing something stupid? And is it corrupt that they allow that carve out for the big taxes generating and donation generating business? You know what I mean? Is it corrupt to look at it that way?
Oh man,
I don't know. It's bad all the way around.
Okay, New York City currently dealing with over 50,000 illegal immigrants in the city alone. Mayor Eric Adams says the city is at a breaking point, and he's asking the federal government for assistance.
We're also asking the federal government to declare a state of emergency. This will allow federal funds to be allocated quickly to help address the urgent challenges we face. Additionally, the federal government needs to provide more funding to match the reality of the cost on the ground.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is he saying that the federal government is responsible for all of the illegal immigration that the rest of the country is having to deal with right now?
At least the money part of it.
That's what he's saying? That seems to be what he's saying.
Getting real hard for him to keep his leftist virtue signaling going on right now.
Yeah. I mean, now if the federal government is responsible for what happens when they get into the country, could it, and this, I'm just throwing it out there, could it be that the federal government is also responsible for them getting into the country in the first place?
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. It's just the wild idea, I know.
And it's interesting to see these Democrats now starting to make a move to try to force the federal government to do something. You've got Eric Adams, you got the governor of Massachusetts complaining.
Healy, yeah.
Little by little, we seem to be seeing these states and cities realizing, oh, yeah, every city is a border city. Every state's a border state. I guess that includes us.
The city of New York is on track to spend $5 billion
with a B
on the crisis this fiscal year alone.
Wow.
And they don't even have that many. They don't even have that many illegal immigrants, given the state of what some of the border states are
Compare that to Arizona, Texas, Florida, New Mexico. Compare that to those states. Yeah, they're just getting a little tiny taste, and they're freaking out and finding out that their leftist ideology is wrong and damaging and hurtful. And they, like you said, they can't handle a tiny fraction of what these other states are dealing with. But they still aren't coming out and saying, we were wrong, we've got to secure the border.
Not quite yet.
You won't hear that.
No.
All right, finally, the Cardinals even up their series against the Rays. They won 6-4 last night. Lars Nootbaar had a home run. Dakota Hudson picked up the win. The deciding game of that series starts at 5:40 this afternoon, and then they are off to Kansas City for a 2-game set, I think it is.
It is Friday and Saturday with a day off on Sunday.
Man.
Who created this schedule? Rob Manfred.
Yeah, really. So anyway, 5:40 tonight. You can see it on Bally TV. All right, just ahead here, another reason just to be reminded, Disney is not your family's friend, okay?
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
News 4 meteorologist Matt Chambers with your first alert forecast. That thick fog in the rear view mirror now, so now we trend toward partly cloudy and eventually mostly sunny skies this afternoon, up to about 87 for the high. Mostly clear overnight tonight and dry down to about 70. Just a slight chance of a shower passing through in the morning on Friday, otherwise partly cloudy, and it's getting warmer up to about 93. Expect highs in the 90s through the weekend. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
News Talk STL. Always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
This Saturday night at 10 on Stories of New Americans.
My guest is George Njungu from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
You couldn't throw trash on the street. If you're seen doing that, military officials are going to, on the spot, beat you and then let you go after that, just as a way to restore order in the country. Whether that's the way to go about it or not, people can debate about it.
Stories of New Americans, Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Mystic Fix is sponsored by Kama Flight, redefining the dance between the masculine and feminine. Kama Flight is a somatic movement practice merging yoga, meditation, and massage. Workshops in 2023 are at the Chosen Retreat Center in Sebastian, Florida. For more, visit Kama Flight on Instagram at KAMAFLIGHT.
This is what's happening.
We saw Joe Biden has lied to the American people.
The only way that we will truly be able to present these facts to the American people is to launch an impeachment inquiry.
101.9 and 94.1.
That plea deal was designed to cover up the web of corruption.
News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
One of the things that amazes me about left-wing corporate America, they do not anymore learn from what the market tells them.
Not at all. They don't care.
It's amazing to me. A generation ago, 2 generations ago, the market speaks. The customer is always right.
Yeah.
And you respond and you treat the customer accordingly.
Yeah.
Now, I guess if your corporation becomes big enough, you get this mindset that I've got a big platform. It's my job to tell you.
Yes.
We can list off all the companies. Bud Light, Target, lately. Car companies. And Disney. A few months ago, probably been 5-6 months ago by now, an internal meeting that was on video, whatever their version of Zoom is or Skype is. They were having an internal meeting, and somebody leaked that to Christopher Rufo, the conservative journalist. And he published it. And what we saw on their creative side, and we're talking people who are in decision-making processes of Disney when it comes to content and the people who write it. And it was explicit that they have a priority on pushing the agenda to change people's opinions on LGBT stuff, cultural stuff, basically to change the values of this country by targeting kids with their content.
One of the women who was facilitating that meeting was talking about her 2 transgender children and saying that there is a, quote, not so secret gay agenda behind what they're doing.
So everything we've been complaining about and warning about, and people goes, this is like, listen, this is where Donald Duck is. This is where Pluto and Goofy are. This is Mickey. This is Minnie. This is, this is Aladdin. This is, Buzz Lightyear. This is not. This is the most family-friendly company in the history of the country, of the world.
Yeah.
And they have been up until recently. And Disney is doubling down on this because they've got social media presences, which every company does, and you need to. And on TikTok, they have a Disney style page. And, most of it's typically what you would think. There's some, actress from one of the Disney shows is like, here's how I do my makeup. Hey, look, here's this, put this scarf with this, whatever. Okay. Well, but they decided to partner with a guy by the name of Sean, let's see here, it's Altman, I think it is. Yeah, Sean Altman. And he describes himself as non-binary, whatever that means.
Or gender fluid.
Gender fluid. Yeah, gender fluid.
Right.
And whatever. So basically he's bi and he's, whatever. He's LGBT. Dude, live your life the way you want. It's not my business. But he's going after your kids on this. So here's what they did. And this is actually on the Disney style video. It's a how to dress up with this man who's demonstrating how to get into the frilly dress.
Let's get dressed. Today we're looking at the most iconic friend group, Disney's Mickey and Friends. And the character most like me is Minnie Mouse. And I have the most perfect dress to start the look. It even has little Mickeys on it, and I love how bold of a red it is. It's just like Minnie. I'm thinking of layering a fun collar, like this one, just to give it a little more flair. But now I feel like the dress needs more shape, so let's add this white petticoat under it. It's so fun to move in, and I love how it peeks out at the bottom. And to add even more shape, this belt should do the trick. Now for hair, I'm thinking of doing space buns. So let's pull out my hair donuts, and just like that, it kind of looks like I have Minnie ears. And Minnie wears gloves, so I need gloves. I'm also gonna add this watch with Minnie and all her friends on it. It's so cute. But now, to be as bold as Minnie, I need a bold red lip. It's a classic, and it's so pretty. Now, let's add some black tights and pull out the iconic yellow pump. I'm just like Minnie Mouse. But wait, something's missing. I know. How could I forget? A giant red bow, the biggest fashion statement. And now the look is complete. I literally look like Minnie Mouse, and I fit in perfectly with Mickey and his friends. The bow with the dress and the shoes really sealed the deal. Now I'm fashionable, bold, and fun, just like Minnie Mouse.
That's targeted at your kids, guys.
It is so creepy.
Why does he sound exactly like a lower octave version of Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah.
Oh, you know
he
what?
does.
Yeah. You're exactly right.
His style of delivery is
Mhm.
almost identical to Dylan, except a lower register
Right.
on his voice.
Yeah, and this guy is, this is aimed at young people. This is aimed at your preteens and your teens.
Oh, you hear all the little pops
Right.
and whistles and all the little sound
Yeah,
effects that they're throwing in
they're
there.
fast jump
Yeah, they're
cuts
doing the
and
fast
stuff,
jump
yeah,
cuts and all.
yeah.
All of that stuff is intended to appeal to your kids. All of that. I mean, that's what this is about. If this was 20, 25, 30 years ago, and you had some sort of tween Disney starlet from whatever show was going on their Disney Channel doing this whole bit, you wouldn't bat an eye at it. It'd just be, hey, look, a tween girl talking to the other tween girls in the world who like Disney stuff and they want to dress up like Minnie Mouse for Halloween or whatever. It would be
Or do their
fine.
makeup
Or do
or
their
whatever,
makeup like so and so from Hannah Montana back when Miley Cyrus was a cute little tween.
Oh, you brought back memories
Yeah.
on that one.
Oh, yeah. Well,
my daughter loved Hannah Montana.
my daughter as well. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's the era in which I was aware of all
Right,
this stuff,
right.
and it was relatively fine. You could kind of trust your kids with that content. You could sit them down. He's like, oh yeah, and here's a new show that came up, Lizzie McGuire or whatever the heck the shows were called. These cute little shows. You can't trust your kids with Disney anymore.
Right. And this, here's the thing. Here's what's a little more insidious. This wasn't a big, bold, we're in your face, we're putting our our flag on this. This is, we're here, we're queer, get used to it. This was just accepted as normal.
Yeah.
This is just, this
It's the
is
regular content.
Yeah, it's just establishing this as a normal thing, that this is the base of the values that you should be adhering to. There's nothing weird about this. Just look at this guy, or whatever, because he's fluid, whatever he is today. Look at Zzer, they whatever. And you should look up to the guy who's saying, I need the black tights and the little dress and the yellow pumps.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I made a video on my YouTube channel, St. John the Philosopher, called Tragic Kingdom, about the fall of Disney. It tells you, basically the entire story of how we got from, back in the day where you could trust them to now, and go check it out. But suffice to say, if you want the positive Disney stuff in your life still, if you still have some sort of loyalty, go with old Disney. Go get the physical mediums. Go with anything made basically before 2005 or so, and you can rely on that stuff. That stuff's still pretty good. But anything new coming out of Disney, this is where they're going, and they want to drag your kids with them.
And they want to do it in a very stealthy way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I looked at the TikTok page. Most of the page, okay. I mean, I'm not a Disney fan.
Sure.
And I think that Disney at this point is completely irredeemable. I don't think we should be associated with Disney, and I would not. But my kids grew up watching Disney stuff like yours. I told you that there was this videotape, dating myself there, a VHS tape that I would play for my daughter when I needed to clean the house, or I wanted to go downstairs and work out, or I just wanted to go in the other room and read for a little bit, or whatever the case is. And it was just a collection from a bunch of the Disney movies and TV shows that were just like the song and dance skits.
Yeah.
And so my daughter, who was preschool at that age, would sing and dance to them, and they were great. They were fantastic. She loved it. She could watch it over and over and over again. I had nothing to worry about. But if your kids are any sort of Disney fans, then you've got to be watching over their shoulder. And when this pervert comes up, then what you need to be doing is making sure that you're getting out ahead of it, so that your kids, especially before they go back to the public school, get it in their heads, no, that's not normal, that's not right, that's not good, because that's how Disney's pushing it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the old days, I'm just asking because I don't know, is the old NBC show Wonderful World of Disney available to watch?
I'm not sure. I
think it's on their streaming.
It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is any physical medium that does that, but there are ways to acquire these things.
Okay.
I'm not going to promote going out on the digital high seas, but I'm telling you, it's,
I was just wondering.
It's
I remember that show.
Yeah. That was good
Sunday
stuff
nights.
back in the day.
Sunday nights.
I loved it.
We
I loved
watched
it.
that because we had church on Sunday nights with my dad being a pastor. I was there, but occasionally, we'd have bad weather at church, so we would watch that on Sunday nights. as well. I remember
on
that
ABC
show.
because Disney owned ABC.
That's right.
No, I think it was on
I
NBC.
think it was
Oh, I'm
NBC.
sorry. It was on NBC
Yeah,
originally.
They bought ABC.
Then they bought
later.
ABC, and
Yeah.
then it moved to ABC. I remember it being on ABC.
But I think you have to go to their streaming channel, which just got a whole lot more expensive because they raised the price on it.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, but I think you can get it there, but I'm not sure because we don't subscribe to Disney Plus anymore.
Same. And by the way, Disney owns so many things now that you're gonna have to watch out because
Yeah.
all of the things are getting infiltrated with all this. Disney owns my favorite franchises like Marvel and Star Wars.
Oh, that's right.
And they've been infiltrating all of those franchises with their garbage. I mean, it's one of the reasons why their movies are kind of weird now, and why I haven't been talking about any of the recent ones recently. You know, because they're garbage now.
All right, 314-912-1019. I think we're almost back to the point where we can put me back on camera.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you the update. Just ahead, right around 8:50 here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
People say, look at the money they save, but I don't believe that life's that way. An old man once looked me in the eye.
Hey, Tim Jones here with Tony Colombo for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner at the Wallner Home Selling Team. If you're thinking about taking advantage of the market and selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now. Put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. Rodney and Jen have the experience and work ethic that sets them apart from all the rest. That's why they sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor and have so many qualified buyers right now. They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. The results, Tony, speak for themselves.
That's right, Tim. In fact, I recently benefited from those results personally. My wife and I couldn't be happier with the job the Wallners did for us, selling our old home in less than 2 days for significantly more than we were asking for and finding us the perfect new home. Like so many others, we loved working with Rodney and Jen, the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
HomeWise with Michael Midget.
Hi there, Michael Midget here. Coming up this Sunday on HomeWise Radio, how to evaluate financing using a private banking model. With questions like, how large of a loan should I take? Should I pay PMI? How about points? You might think you know the answer to these, but do you really? Join me this Sunday and we'll dive into this and more.
HomeWise, Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Get more HomeWise at HomeWiseRadio.com.
I don't have to tell you it's hot time summer in St. Louis, so why the heck are you still dragging those hoses around your yard? Tim Jones here for Professional Irrigation Systems. They will do a residential irrigation install in 1 day, custom irrigation designs for every property. We made that decision years ago. We've never regretted it. Irrigation installs improve your curb appeal. They also have got landscape lighting and fertilization packages as well. Make your yard the envy of the neighborhood. 636-692-4441, 24/7 at proirrigation.com. That's proirrigation.com.
Post-COVID travel is on a surge. Many of you are traveling for fun because you've been locked up for 2 years. Listen, whether you're traveling for fun to Italy, Greece, Spain, France, or somewhere else fun in the world, or USA, now is a great time to book before the crowds hit and save. Plus, with a strong U.S. dollar, you'll get more travel bang for your buck. Right now is a smart time to make your reservations and call low-cost airlines. With one phone call, you can let us do all the work for free. We'll shop hundreds of airlines, hotels, resorts, and give you a way to save huge money on your vacation plans. And if you call right now, we'll give you a free hotel room with a qualified travel purchase. So call right now.
Call right now. 800-648-9175. 800-648-9175. 800-648-9175. That's 800-648-9175.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
You hear Dan Bongino talk about it all the time, a parallel economy. I think we need to go further than that. We'll see what Nate Lucas has to say about that Thursday morning at 10:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Hey, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, just ahead here before we turn things over to Vic Porcelli, I've just got a quick update on how to drive when there is a fire truck with its lights and sirens on.
Gosh. Public service announcement.
Public service announcement coming your way in a few minutes. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson. That's Gabe Pfeiffer. Got Stel Ponticus here coming up on 8:52. All right, Kathy here. Kathy, we were just talking about the whole Disney thing and the TikTok video where Disney's just embedding into their content aimed at children. Hey, you know what? This gender fluid, non-binary, don't even mention the stuff. It's just everybody's the same. It's all normal. And a guy who wants to wear a tights and dress and prance around, it's all good. Just let that permeate your kid's mindset. What's your thought?
Not normal. But can you imagine the actors and the actresses that did the Mickey Mouse Club show, that they are just so rolling over in their graves that Disney is doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, not that Walt Disney was a perfect human being by any stretch. I mean, he definitely, as we learn more, had some character flaws about him. But the idea that he and his generation could look and see what their creation has come down to, I think that they would be spinning in their grave at about 1,000 RPM.
Yep, and I also think that people, I mean, we get so distracted with things, but we just have to hold on to our children because this world is just becoming so evil and want to separate the children from the parents, just like Hitler did. And we can't allow that to happen. We have to pay attention. We have to be awake.
Yeah,
in a different sense.
That's
in
why
a good sense, I guess.
Yeah, but that's why I play that video on here because Gabe and I were talking about during one of the information segments. There's bad creepy, and then there's like good creepy, which is like the cool Halloweeny type of stuff.
Yeah.
But this was really bad creepy, and
This was bad creepy.
Yeah, what's really bad about it isn't that it's in your face and you will do this. It's the way that it's just in a very subtle way, just included with here's all the cool people, here's all the cool stuff. Hey, kids, you will be like this, and it's not overt. It's very subtle, but it's on their content aimed at children.
But also, too, remember how they used to get you to smoke? Oh, it was cool to smoke, and then look, it causes cancer. But they don't tell you about that growing up. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just stuff you got to be aware of.
Yeah, now to be fair, 3 out of 5 doctors did prefer Camels.
Not Marlboro?
Yeah,
that's right.
Do you remember the Camel? The Camel cigarettes used to have a Camel smoking.
Joe Camel.
Joe Camel.
Joe Camel.
Joe the Camel, that's right.
He was cool.
That's right.
Hey, thanks, Kathy. Thanks for being part of the show.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thank
look
you.
at the
Bye-bye.
story you got, Kathy. Thanks. Fox 2. This is the type of stuff. Of course, my dad, was a firefighter while I was growing up. He was a volunteer firefighter, on the side. But just irritates the crap out of me. So a fire truck from the Blackjack Fire District going to a house fire Tuesday night. So we're about 9 o'clock at night.
Okay.
They're going to a house fire. The lights and the siren were on.
They're moving.
And right there at the intersection of Old Halls Ferry Road and Country Club Court. So we're talking North County.
Yeah.
Blackjack, obviously. Somebody pulled out in front of the pumper truck.
So stupid. So stupid.
So the pumper truck, to avoid running over the car, swerves. They go into a ditch, overturn. 3 firefighters get hurt.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. And then that pumper truck never makes it to the fire.
Right. They don't make it to the fire.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, pumper trucks weigh a few tons.
Yes.
These
are
are
very expensive.
Yeah, they are. I was involved in buying one when I was on the. I saw the price tag and I'm like, we got to have it, but that's a lot of numbers.
Yeah, we're used to mass-produced vehicles. These are not.
No,
they're basically lovingly handcrafted vehicles.
Yes, they are.
Like a Bugatti.
Yeah. And so the firefighters go to the hospital. They do not have life-threatening injuries, but they're, as I understand it, not working for a little bit while they recover because some dummy didn't see the red and blue flashing lights at 9 o'clock at night
or hear the
siren and pulled out in front of a freaking fire truck.
Oh my gosh, it's so stupid.
I mean, I think it's weird that we don't understand the rules of that.
Mhm.
If you are on a divided road,
Yeah.
okay, so if you're on, say, 40, you're on 64, that is a highway that is divided.
Yeah.
If you are driving east and there is a fire truck going west, you do not have to pull over and get out of the way.
Right.
It's divided.
They're not coming over.
Yes. If you are in a road where there is nothing physically dividing you from the other direction, pull over and pull over, get out of the way, even if there is no chance you're in the way. That's just what you do.
Yes.
We don't even really do that. I see people kind of slow down, or they'll just get in the far lane and just keep driving because we're too busy. But when we don't take those extra precautions, stupid stuff like this happens. Somebody pulled out, and it looks like the firefighter avoided the car.
Right. Yeah, they would have just ran through that vehicle probably with that gigantic truck.
So once again, their skill set protected people.
Yes.
And they got hurt in the process.
Mhm.
So you got firefighters hurt on the job because somebody was so clueless and not paying attention to literally pull out in front of a fire truck with lights and siren on.
Dummies.
Which means their music was probably up really loud, or they had headphones in, or they just weren't paying attention at all. Unbelievable. All right, Vic Borselli.
And you got a new tooth.
I did get a new tooth. I had a root canal yesterday, and they put the new tooth in, and so my face is slowly getting put back together. We may by tomorrow maybe take the still down, and I'll just.
Oh, I already did.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. I'm back, and a new tooth to show for it.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transfer